Paris Fort Smith.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
You said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope!
I'm with my heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! 1, 2, 3! Turn that down,
Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Oh, so excited for this to be the end of the week and for this to be Friday. And we got a big sports weekend coming up. And I'm excited to just be home after a long night of a rough basketball game for Arkansas's women's basketball team and a late night of travel back to the homestead. Let's say hi to the guys in the studio. Christian Johnston, Matt Jones. Happy Friday. How are we feeling on this lovely February the 10th?
Always a little more pep in your step on a Friday.
Christian been holding it down in here this week, man.
Yes,
it's been fun doing the show with you, Christian.
I appreciate it. Maddie will be back, I'm sure, I think next week. So looking forward to that as well.
Hopefully without the giant python that he was shouldering in those wedding photos.
Yeah, it's not allowed on the plane.
Well, I'm glad.
It's not a support animal. Not was that? Yeah.
You can put a snake in a. You can put a snake in a box and tape it up and put that thing in there. I'm pretty sure of that.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not sure if I'd want to be anybody handling the baggage. But
you see that person? Speaking of animals in airports, you see that person video camera and videotaping Shannon Sharp getting off he had his Paris Hilton dog on him, and you should have seen. It made me just look at him there. Dylan Brooks don't know. He's lucky. He's lucky there was somebody. Now Steven Adams on the other hand, that might be a good matchup because Shannon Sharp has some age in him, but that dude still looks like rocked up, man.
Well, just let their dogs go at each other, right? I mean, to make it an unfair fight in some cases. If you're Shannon Sharp and you've got a dog that's about the size of your biceps,
it is, yeah. He just got it tucked in right there, it's about the size of a football. Yeah.
My cat's bigger than his dog.
Absolutely,
didn't really seem very right, man. Not at all. I'm a little bit out of it today. We didn't get back until we didn't land. The plane didn't land until 1 o'clock in the morning. I didn't make it back home till 4:30.
Man,
so I did get a little bit of sleep. But I knew this was going to be the case once I decided to make the move back towards where my kids. That there'd be nights like this. You have an 8 o'clock road game on a Thursday night. Chances are it's gonna be a little bit late once you get back home. But Christian, as long as you feel you've got some energy, I think I can fake it for the next 3 hours.
I'll try to give that to you, some of that to you as well.
And it's Super Bowl week. I was texting with Phil earlier. I was like, I don't think we talked 5 minutes about the Super Bowl yesterday, and then we didn't really talk much Wednesday. So I'm excited to kind of break down the Super Bowl, see what the listeners around here think, because in Arkansas, I don't know a lot of Dallas fans. Do you want? Go ahead.
I can tell you how I feel.
Let me hear it.
I'm a Cowboys fan, as you were just talking about, and in no case do I want to see Philadelphia win a Super Bowl.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
it's pretty difficult sometimes to root for a hated division rival.
Mm-hmm.
Although, you can look at it from the other perspective here. Let's say my father tried to convince me of this one time in the '80s with baseball. Let's say that Philadelphia wins the Super Bowl. Okay, you finished second place in the division to the Super Bowl champion. If they lose, then it doesn't. I mean, it really doesn't matter where you finished anyway. I'm just trying to perk you up a little bit here, Christian, and the rest of the Cowboys fans.
Yeah, it's
otherwise I'm not sure exactly what you root for.
I don't know. It's hard to make me happy as a Cowboys fan. Nothing short of a Super Bowl at this point will do that.
Well, it should be a really fun game on Sunday, no doubt. And I'm actually excited for the idea to listen to the first half because I'm a radio geek. I love listening to these broadcasts. Kevin Harlan, I think, is on the radio call on the Westwood One radio network, and he's as good as it gets. So I get a chance to listen to the first half and then probably watch the second half with the Fox crew, the number one Fox crew that won't be the number one Fox crew going into 2024. So, I mean, I love the Super Bowl. Who doesn't love the Super Bowl? Even people that don't watch the NFL still watch the Super Bowl, whether or not they're paying attention during the game or whether it's all about the
$16 billion
show.
Bet supposed to be bet on the Super Bowl. I mean, crazy, right?
Well, we'll get into some of the prop bets with Neil Atkinson from Bet Saracen later on in the show. Also going to talk some Arkansas baseball with former Razorback pitcher James Teague, who'll join us for the first of probably 15 or 16 or 17 weeks, as long as the baseball season goes. We'll have James on from the Teague Law Firm. It's a nice career he's got started, went from pitching to law. And Aaron Torres joins us in a little bit. We'll get into college basketball. And, of course, I mean, the big news in college
I was going to say, have you settled down a little bit, Phil? I know that kind of had you a little bit yesterday with homie hurting his arm, but have we kind of settled down and seen are we going to be okay?
I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I really do. It's just there's a couple ways to look at it. One, if you're going to lose a guy that might have been your Friday starting pitcher, it's a good thing for it to happen before the season starts so that you don't rely on him as you get into the year. You know, you don't feel like you got to replace somebody that's been really productive for you. And I mean, if there's a pitching staff that can absorb an injury like this, it's this year's pitching staff. They did last year and made it to Omaha too, and I think this staff is probably deeper. I don't even think a little bit deeper. I mean, a lot deeper. And it sucks for Jackson. It may end up costing him a good chunk of change. He'll have a decision to make because he'll be redshirted. He'll have that extra year of eligibility.
Come on back, man. Yeah, come on, NIL him. Come on back, prove yourself, and be a first-round pick. I mean, why? I mean, that's the beauty. We talked a little bit about, and I'm going to enjoy getting to talk with you and discuss that. But that's the beauty, I think, of the NIL. You know, a lot of negative going into it, but the one good thing is it could keep you around the next year. And it's not about getting to the NFL or the major leagues or the NBA as quick as you can. It's about getting there at the right time and being in the right situation and being developed and being ready to go. And it just gives you another opportunity to hang out for a little bit and assess yourself, get healthy, and be ready. So when you do go, you're healthy as you can be.
I think it presents options for the athlete, in ways that they may not have felt they have that option, where they may feel pressure to capitalize on the ability to make money through the pros because that's the only way you can make money. So, we'll get into that with James as well. And, of course, the big news in college sports yesterday is Oklahoma and Texas coming into the SEC a year earlier than the original contract saw. It's funny because what was it, like 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, there was the reports that the talks between the Big 12 and the two schools broke down and it wasn't going to happen for 2024 and 25. And it all turned out as just a matter of throwing money at the problem, really. I mean, they just had to throw $50 million at the Big 12 and at Fox Television. And I guess Texas also had to rejigger a 2-game series with Michigan and flip-flop the home and road. And now they'll be part of the SEC in 2024 and 2025. So now we can start the debate on what the schedules will look like, if there will be divisions and who plays who, and whether or not Oklahoma and Texas are ready for the SEC. I'll tell you what, though, in football, there's going to be an adjustment period for these programs. Any team that's come into the Southeastern Conference has had an immediate adjustment period. Outside, and the crazy aspect of this, Matt, is like, didn't Missouri win the East Division their first 2 years in the SEC?
Yeah, right.
You're like, all right, so where's the adjustment? Well, it was after the division championships that the adjustment started to occur for Missouri football. Because South Carolina, Arkansas, A&M, there have been major adjustments.
Arkansas entered in 92. I think they won the West in, 98, 96. So it took 4 years or so. I think they've won it 3 times since they entered, 3 or 4 times. So that's not bad when considering Arkansas is supposed to be a mid-level SEC team.
Well, now in the other sports, like, I don't know how much of an adjustment there's
basketball. OU and Texas can go. Yeah.
In fact, in basketball,
baseball too.
The rest of the SEC adjusting to Texas and Oklahoma, and in baseball they'll come ready to go.
Yeah.
It took Arkansas a long time to establish themselves in the Southeastern Conference in baseball. Heck, they immediately established themselves in the SEC in basketball because they came ready to go.
Yeah, they did.
But it took like 7-8 years for the baseball program to really kind of settle into being a Southeastern Conference team, and now one of the major powers in the conference. Texas and OU are already baseball powers, and they'll come ready to play in that sport as well.
Yeah, I was in Hoover when the baseball team won it, and just winning the SEC tournament is an incredible feeling. I mean, it's, I think that was Van Horn's first SEC tournament victory, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the program's first ever SEC tournament win.
Yeah.
But, of course, that season's also remembered for, what didn't happen, which was not going to Omaha.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's a fascinating conversation to see what this is going to go to, because now the Big Ten and the SEC will, at the very same time, become is the term super conference proper? I think the SEC is a little more of a super conference in football, but just the overall numbers, man, is it's massive. And Matt and I already are disagreeing a little bit on the makeup of what the football schedule could look like, but we'll get into that in a little bit because we need to take our break. Aaron Torres will come up in just a moment here on Halftime. We'll have plenty of time for calls and texts as well throughout our 3 hours at 877-377-6963. Justin said Arkansas won the West first in 95. So I think that was 95.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, 95. I knew it was like 3 years in 95, 96. I couldn't remember. And then Coach Nutt won one. And then Coach Nutt won 3. So I think that might be maybe four times, yeah.
And as far as the Super Bowl is concerned, I'm still going to lean towards Philadelphia. And I'm no Eagles fan. I don't root for Philadelphia sports teams, being a native Pittsburgher. I don't really have a dog in the fight as far as this is concerned, nor do I have a Chief or an Eagle in the fight. I just think Philadelphia's defense end up being a little bit too much for, truthfully, Mahomes is still the GOAT, even if they lose. All right, Aaron Torres joining us next on Halftime.
All aboard the Muss Bus.
We've got to continue to get better every day and have a level head.
Steps back, 3 over, Kessler's good!
Everybody wants to compete. Everybody wants to play.
This is going to be a learning experience for a lot of our guys.
They are rushing the court at Bud Walton Arena.
We have a lot of talented players, so we know there's going to be a lot of people trying to prove that they're better than us individually and as a team.
You're not going to keep them off the floor tonight.
Follow the Hogs on the hardwood all season long. Only on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
The biggest and best selection of brand new 22 and 23 Fords is at Harry Robinson's Salisal Ford. The 22 F-150. Get a $1,000 rebate and 1.9% financing for 60 months. Ford Bronco Sports, 3.9% for 60 months or 5.9% for 72 months. Plus Mach-E Mustangs, Escapes, and more are ready today with special offers. The best selection of new Fords is at Harry Robinson's Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Salisal.
Hi, this is Ricky Smith, head basketball coach for the Northside Lady Bears. I dial 782-8940. That's 782-8940.
This is Northside head basketball coach Eric Burnett. I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940.
Take advantage of York Factory rebates on high-efficiency HVAC products.
782-8940.
Make today more interesting with Betly's online sports betting action. You can bet on pro and college games with Betly, the only online sports book in Arkansas and Tennessee. And right now, every new customer can cash in on a $250 risk-free first bet. Download the Betly Sportsbook app now in the Apple and Google Play Store or visit Betly.com. With Betly, every game matters. Must be 21 or older and located in Arkansas or Tennessee to bet. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
With everyday low prices on top brands, locally owned Yeager's Ace Hardware is committed to offering real service with real savings. Get these great deals at any of our 4 locations. Ace 40-pound wild bird food or 20-pound black oil sunflower seed, only $20. Assorted flavors of Ace bird suet, only 99 cents. And Ace pleated air filters, buy 3, get 1 free. Find more everyday low prices online at YeagersHardware.com. Jaeger's Ace Hardware, offering real service with real savings.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance, and Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren, 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag technology without the headache.
Love is in the air at Crane Used Car Supercenter of Fort Smith, and dealer-operator Joe Pulliam is making sweetheart deals all month long, like pre-owned vehicles starting as low as $7,497 or payments as low as $269 a month. You'll fall in love with a Crane Pre-Loved with lots to choose from, Kias and Land Rovers to full-size trucks, all backed by the Crane commitment. Rush to the Crane Used Car Supercenter, 8200 US 71 South in Fort Smith. UACC dealer details.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, City!
See me coming to town with my soul. Straight down out of the world with my fingers holding on to the devil. I know all my troubles are hanging your trigger. Take your eyes into my.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Our man Aaron Torres joining us from the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast and Aaron Torres Sports Media here on a Friday edition of Halftime, with Arkansas and Mississippi State and the rest of the SEC doing battle on the hardwood tomorrow, and of course the Super Bowl on Sunday. Aaron, a big sports weekend. I don't know if there's ever anything bigger than the Super Bowl is concerned, but now you got like 7 games left in the regular season for men's college basketball in the SEC, and we got bubbles to talk about, double buys to worry about, and one of the best, if not the best, player in the country rejoining the Razorbacks. We expect that Nick Smith Jr. will be on the court tomorrow against Mississippi State, at least if his Instagram Live broadcast proves to be true.
Yeah, I heard all about this Instagram. I guess I'm following the wrong people because I didn't hear about it until after the fact, but listen, they say if it's on the internet, it must be real. And so, obviously I know there was a few players talking about it, all that good stuff. But I just bring it up to say, that, it'll be interesting to follow. And I'm excited. I hope that we're able to get him onto the court. I hope the rumors are true, and I'm excited to see him.
They played well in these last few weeks too without Nick Smith Jr. And it feels like the team has gelled into various roles. You see the Mitchell twins really kind of providing a lot of physical nature to the team right now. And Jordan Walsh off the bench. Devo is the unquestioned leader of the team. Some people worry about messing up the chemistry. And I mean, really, when you look at this, it's like, the chemistry will figure itself out when you add a player of Nick Smith's talent.
Yeah, somebody else asked me about this yesterday. I actually do understand the argument. Basketball is a team game, 5 guys on the court, all that. But what I would also say is, if you're going to do it, now is the time, because if this was March 11th or whatever it is, I don't know if today's February 10th, I think the 11th, whatever, but if this was March 11th, then I would have trepidation of, can you get this guy in? Can you figure out the pieces, blah, 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 this and that. it's only early to mid-February, and I think what really stands out is, and I told somebody else this yesterday, I know you're on this 5-game SEC win streak. I know it probably should be about a 7-game win streak with the Baylor and Missouri games, but I just bring it up because, I sit there and say, if you have to sacrifice a loss now in mid-February to get Nick Smith right, for late February, where we know the schedule gets even tougher if that's possible, and then, of course, everything to come in March, I think it's worth it. You want to stay hot. You want to keep doing what you're doing, but you said the words, Phil. I mean, if not the best player in college basketball, he's in the very, very, very short conversation. You just can't leave him on the bench. If he's healthy and if he wants to play and all that, that's a different conversation, but he is healthy enough. He does want to play, and there is enough time to reacclimate him, and so I've heard that argument. I understand that argument. I've seen it in real life. We have real life examples of guys trying to join a team late and it just doesn't work out. But I think because it's only February 10th, because you have plenty of time to reacclimate him, I think you just got to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, it's wild. Arkansas potentially could have 4 first-round picks. I don't know if they'd all be 4 first-round picks this year, but in Brazil and Walsh, Walsh maybe next year. Anthony Black, man, he has just went. I haven't seen a better player in the SEC, all-round player. You might have a guy that can shoot it better. You might have a guy that can rebound better. But the way he sees the floor, the way he controls the game, and that Kentucky game just stands out. He's been getting better each week. What are your thoughts on Anthony? I mean, he's gone. He's going to be a top 10 pick this year.
Well, I think 2 things stand out, Matt. One, I mean, the defensive energy he brought early in the second half changed that game, and that was what allowed Arkansas to build that lead that they didn't give up. So that's one. And then 2, I was thinking about this after the game, is, we did our freshman All-American teams at AT, or midseason freshman All-American teams at AT Online the other day, and in looking at his stats, and, me and a couple other guys voted on it, but I don't know why we don't I mean, this guy's averaging what? I don't have the stats in front of me. What is it, 13.5, 5, and 4.5 or something like that?
He's a facilitator. He's not a score-first guy. He's going to score more when he in his 7th year in the league.
No, Matt, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
13.5, 5, and 4.5 as a freshman in the SEC is incredible. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't know why he's not getting more credit for everything that he's already done. And again, he's shooting the ball at a great clip. The defensive energy is changing games. I'm with you. Now, Brandon Miller is the best freshman not only in the SEC in college basketball, but why Anthony Black has not gotten more credit for his play, I'm agreeing with you, Matt. I think he's gone completely under the radar nationally. It felt like we talked about him in that Creighton game, and then we didn't talk about him again until the Kentucky game 2 nights ago.
Yeah, he's just getting better. What are your thoughts on Oklahoma and Texas? How do they help the SEC? And is there any more teams coming to the SEC, you think, in the next 4 or 5 years?
What I think is interesting about that move, and I always thought it was going to happen, with the college football playoff expanding to 2024, it never made sense for me to keep Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12. The last thing you want is for Texas or Oklahoma to make the playoff and go on a run as a member of the Big 12 and then immediately leave. So I always thought it was going to get done. Obviously the football perspective is what's interesting, and I know it's a big conversation today, what the scheduling model looks like. Here was a thought that I had, though. From the basketball perspective, do we know who either head coach is going to be when they enter the league? Because Texas is obviously, no one knows right now. I actually give Rodney Terry credit. I think he's doing a great job of trying to keep that job full-time, and I think he's earned that right based on what we've seen so far. But Oklahoma's going sideways in a hurry. There's rumors that Porter Mosier is trying to figure out a way to get out of there and get out of his contract there. So from the basketball perspective, I think it's hard to tell. Obviously, from the football perspective, it is fascinating. 1, from the scheduling model. 2, where is Texas? 3, Oklahoma could either be a lot better than they were last year, or they could be a train wreck coming in. So, from the basketball perspective, there's not much, and I know this is kind of basketball season, but it is such a fascinating thing to peel back the layers of when you talk about it from the football perspective.
Yeah, on the football perspective, nobody with the Longhorns or the Sooners wants to admit that there's going to be this adjustment period. Matt and I were getting into this in the previous segment. It's shocking to think about that Missouri actually won the East Division. I think it was the first 2 years that they joined the SEC. That's a head scratcher. That's an outlier. That will not happen with Texas and with Oklahoma. Although by the time Texas comes in, Arch Manning will be ready to go. Who knows how good he'll be, right off the jump. But, I mean, there is that adjustment period with football. And, and part of that is the nature of the sport. You can remake teams in basketball a lot easier. The two baseball programs come in just ready to compete, I think, at the SEC level. But with football, I don't think anybody with OU or Texas or the fans really want to admit it, but they know. They know. It's going to be it's going to be a couple years, 3 years before they're able to build that line of scrimmage up. Or maybe I'm not looking at it the right way, Aaron, because of the transfer portal and how quickly teams can change.
That was one of my takeaways. I think yesterday the two biggest losers were Brent Venables and Steve Sarkisian. And again, they'll never admit it. And, Brent Venables has done all these interviews. He's got a clock with the exact, it was set to whatever, July 1, 2025 or whatever it was, whatever the date was. So I don't know if he had to get a new clock or get it fixed or what, but listen, it is going to be an adjustment. And we all know, this is stuff that everybody knows, is that it's not the one-off game, right? Texas can look great against Alabama like they did last year in Austin, but then can you go on the road the next week to Oxford or Fayetteville or College Station or whatever and keep that same momentum and intensity? So I'm with you, Phil, is that, and I'll say this too, is that, from the Texas perspective, okay, Sark is going into year 3. You mentioned the portal, 2 top 5 recruiting classes. I got to see something on the field from Brent Venables this year because, the offense last year, okay, whatever, Dylan Gabriel gets hurt, but the defense is supposed to be his area of expertise. And, I don't know how much you guys hear the noise being down in that area, but I guess on the national scale, there's a lot of the, Lincoln Riley, it's all Lincoln Riley. It's like the defense wasn't that bad the defense statistically, actually the best defense that Lincoln Riley has ever had was in his final season at Oklahoma, and they were the worst defense last year statistically for Brent Venables or in the Big 12 last year under Brent Venables. So, listen, Oklahoma was very aggressive in the portal, especially along the defensive front. But I need to see on the field that he is the right coach for Oklahoma and that they have a roster ready to compete, because I'm with you, Phil, listen, it was going to come at some point. By the way, we can go back to the day this announcement happened. I still think it's a big part of the reason why Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma in the first place. So there's a lot of variables, but as I said, I think the biggest losers yesterday coming out of this were Brent Venables and Steve Sarkisian, who I know would have loved another year to build up their rosters.
So we got Sunday, we got the Super Bowl going. Do you think Jalen Hurts is ready? What are your thoughts on this Philly-Kansas City matchup?
I guess my big thought is that, what I keep going back to is this, is I get the notion that Philly has the better across-the-board roster. I'm not going to argue that. But I also go back to the Super Bowl 2 years ago when Tampa played KC, and we were ready to crown KC a dynasty and this and that. And they really got kind of, again, to what we just talked about, they got kind of punked along the line of scrimmage. And so I think this year that Philly front is so good, but I also think KC has lived through that 2 years ago, and I think they'll be more prepared. I think they'll have a game plan to get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands quick. And I think Mahomes is just a different quarterback. I mean, I think, there were he's never been bad or anything, but he had, a down month to 6 weeks 2 seasons ago. And I think this year he's done an incredible job adjusting to without Tyreek Hill. And so, maybe it's really square from the betting perspective. I understand why Philly's a favorite. I do like KC. Not a knock on Jalen Hurts. He's one of my all-time favorite college athletes to follow and cover and be around. But, I'm not betting against Mahomes in 2 straight Super Bowls. I think there were a lot of lessons learned from that loss to Tampa 2 years ago.
Where do you watch the game? How do you watch the game? And do you allow yourself to be around, more than 5 people for the Super Bowl? Because, we're the sort of people that want to watch the game, hear what the announcers are saying, and maybe listen to the commercials and things like that. But then when you're around all these other people, it's like, give me my own room. Give me my own room. So how does Aaron Torres watch the Super Bowl?
It's really funny. So my in-laws were not born in the United States, and so they don't really understand football. So one year we tried to do the big thing, have them over for the Super Bowl, and it was that Rams-Patriots Super Bowl that was literally the most boring game ever. It was like 10-6 was the final score or something like that. And I think they swore off football from that point on. So my wife and I usually will order a pizza. She kind of does watch for the commercials. I'll watch, for the game itself, and she'll probably be halfway on her phone. But I just bring it up to say that we'll have fun, but we're not a big group party kind of group. So.
Fair enough. Yeah, you got it. Like 5-6 people is like the maximum to watch the game. You get any more than that, it's hard to watch.
Well, and I know you guys have a lot of stuff to break down, and it's not my area where I'm going to break it down. But I mean, I not to say this in like a humble brag, like I host national radio. We will be talking about it the following week. But even on my podcast, I mean, every single person that's going to listen to you guys on Monday has watched the Super Bowl. The same with whoever is going to listen to my Monday podcast. So, like, the idea that I haven't paid attention or I had too many to drink or I had too many people in the room, like, it is kind of our job to, at least kind of be monitoring what's going on. So, like I said, I'm with you, Matt. 5 to 6 tops is the most, and yeah.
Well, that's why
it's fun.
That's why I ask you about the SC. I mean, the who is the all 5 freshman team? Because I watch Arkansas basketball and I watch whoever they play. Brandon Miller didn't really show out against Arkansas, but who is your top 5 when you said you voted on the All-American SC or All-American basketball for the freshmen?
Freshman, I'm trying to remember. Well, Brandon Miller, obviously. Grady Dick from Kansas is having a great year. He's actually a very important piece for them. Anthony Black was up there. Cason Wallace is quietly, like, he's really Kentucky's only consistent player this year. Like, I think he's maybe, he's maybe their best guard, and maybe since the Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox team of about 6-7 years ago now. So those are the guys that stand out. The SEC has quite a few. There's others nationally that I'm blanking on, but Anthony Black's right there. And to go back to your question, Matt, I thought it was such a great point by you, is like, I don't know why he's not getting more credit. Maybe it's because Arkansas was struggling, but again, it's almost like what I just said with Cason Wallace. It's not Cason Wallace's fault if Kentucky is flatlining, and Anthony Black has been so consistent and so much, and Muss has been talking about this since June, but like so much has been asked of him, and then on top of that, we thought Nick Smith would be able to take some of the playmaking away from him. That hasn't happened, so it's just been surreal. It's just been surreal to watch, and again, I just don't think he gets enough credit.
Hey, last thing I wanted to ask you about, and I thought about this from the end of the Tennessee Vandy basketball game a couple of nights ago, and it wasn't Phillips not going for the dunk. It was the fact that the foul gave them 1-1 instead of what you see across almost every other level of basketball. The NBA, when you're in the bonus, you get 2 shots. In women's basketball, you get in the bonus, you get 2 shots. And on those levels, too, timeouts, you advance the ball into the half court. Men's college basketball stands alone as far as I know, the only level of basketball that has a 1-1, up until the 7th foul, and you don't advance on a timeout. So my question for you, Aaron, is men's college basketball the only true basketball being played, or do they need to go the way the other leagues are doing things?
I'll tell you a funny story really quick, and I'll try to be quick. I know we're up on time. I actually was on a guest on Sirius NBA radio one time. I think it was around the NBA draft, and they brought me on to talk prospects. I got in, like, a shouting match with the host because he very passingly said, well, obviously the NBA rule where you advance the ball past half court that's obviously just, like, the right way to do it. And I was like, no, it isn't. And he's like, but it makes the game so much more fun. And I was like, and Phil, you'll appreciate this. I literally said it on air. I said, yeah, we could bring out metal bats and have a home run derby to end games in baseball, but we don't do that because it makes no sense. And I said, it doesn't make sense to just advance the ball. Like I just got into this like screaming match with the guy, and it was like fun, but it was like very like feisty. Because I don't understand how anyone is in favor of advancing the basketball. Now, the 1-1, that's a different whatever, but, like, advancing the basketball, it's just so counterintuitive to everything that happens throughout the rest of the game that I just don't get why. Like, okay, it makes for a more fun game. It doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do, right? Like, we could go to, a punt, pass, and kick competition to decide games in overtime. It'd be entertaining. It doesn't mean that that's the way we should end football games. So it's one of AT's big sticking points. I hate the advancing the ball rule. I think it's the stupidest thing in the world. And I'll be honest, I've never really given much thought to the 1-1. It never really occurred to me that nobody else does it except for college. But I hate with a passion, the same way that Phil and Matt hate people ruining their Super Bowl viewing parties. I hate advancing the ball to half court in the NBA. I hate it. I think it's so stupid.
That's a good way to end our talk here, AT, with a little fire in the belly.
I do love to see Andy Reid in that punt, pass, and kick competition.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It'd be entertaining. It'd be entertaining. Yeah, that'd be a great way to end it. It's just dumb. So anyway, guys, I got to run. Thank you both. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Aaron, appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend. Always fun talking with you. I knew it. I didn't realize that he'd get that fired up about it, though, because we've had Aaron on for over 4 years. You can picture the guy. You can picture the guy getting into a shouting match.
He was bringing it today.
Somebody else's show.
I like it.
It's never happened with us because we don't do shouting matches, but maybe like twice in the last 5 years, but that's it. You can call us and very calmly discuss sports in the next segment if you like. We might not shout very much. 877-377-6963 for your calls and texts on this Friday halftime.
The world is always changing, and our lives change right along with it. So when you need a bigger space for that gym or remote office, a larger kitchen, or a yard to run around in, your local Weichert agent can help. And when your life changes again, and you're looking for that cozy place for just the two of you, your Weichert agent can help then too. Because at Weichert Realtors, we know that no matter how the world changes around you, we'll take you home. Call your local Weichert Realtors office today. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
It's Tango Day, everybody. Follow after me. And step, and back, and slide, and dip. That's tango.
Why is Ice-T leading our tango class?
It's probably the heart-shaped Honey Nut Cheerios. He found out they can help lower cholesterol. Now he's having fun taking care of his heart in all sorts of new ways.
Let's see those hips move, people.
Hurry and get your heart-shaped Cheerios. They're only here for a limited time.
World of Wireless, your local premier dish dealer, but also many other home services, whether it's high-speed internet or whether it's making sure your central vac works, home automation and more. You do it all at World of Wireless.
Now, we've had technicians in customers' homes for 27 years now, since 1995 in the River Valley. We do smart home products. We have the Google products that Dish offers, cameras, door ring services, the Ring doorbell services. We also now take care of central vacuums. We're the only person in the River Valley that'll do new installs and take care of your customer service and your service needs with central vacuums.
Plus, you do general vacuum repairs. If you've got a home vac that needs belts, hoses, or repair, you do that as well.
That's right. The family that ran the business here for 40 years, I knew them well. They are no longer in business. The gentleman, Scott, passed away this past year, and great family, but no one's taking care of customers, and so we're doing that now, and you can get your dish service with us, get your central vacuum repair, get your smart home products, or get your internet services in rural areas with WOW World of Wireless.
877-305-3474 for World of Wireless.
The cold and flu seasons are here, and Law's Drugstore has what you need to safely care for you and your family. Law's Drugstore can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all the over-the-counter cold and flu remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointments for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Hey, this is Chad Warner, product manager for Booyah Bait Company in Fort Smith, Arkansas. The hottest swim jig on the Arkansas River right now is the Booyah Mobster. It was designed by the Muddy Water Mob, a bunch of river rats from Arkansas and Oklahoma, and it's winning tournaments on Dardanelle and Kerr like clockwork. If you're fishing submerged vegetation, water willow, lily pads, you need a Booyah Mobster to reel them in. Available at lurenet.com and tackle stores throughout Arkansas and Oklahoma, the Booyah Mobster.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Late breaking news. Central Hydraulics has teamed up with Wacker Neuson to meet your ever-growing equipment needs. Wacker Neuson offers loaders, excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, and more. Central Hydraulics is also your Gates Hydraulic Hose Center. Stop by today at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith. Central Hydraulics, helping you move the world.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Well, they're lining up outside Neville Arena in Auburn for tomorrow's Alabama-Auburn basketball game. Wonder if anybody's lined up outside Bud Walton Arena. Now, those are the students, of course, that are waiting for the student gate to open. They're going to 1 o'clock tip-off tomorrow. If you're one of the students lined up for Arkansas, Mississippi State, you can be lined up a little bit longer with a 5 o'clock tip. ESPNU will take it tomorrow, and, of course, we'll have the entire broadcast with Chuck and Zim beginning at 4:30 with the Learfield pregame, 5:02 tip. Usually a 5:02 tip. All depends on what's going on in front of the game on ESPNU. And then Hog Reaction later on as the Hogs and the Mississippi State Bulldogs do battle for the only time they do it this season. Women's team took one on the chin yesterday. And it's a tough one. It's a bad loss. Vanderbilt, team that Arkansas beat earlier this year by 1 point. And, man, I mean, I'd like to say that the Razorbacks just kind of caught a bad break or something. But last night, Vanderbilt was just the better team on the court. It might not mean that they're the better team overall, but they were the better team yesterday. Won 78-70 over Arkansas. The Hogs trailed for nearly 37 minutes. Had the lead for a little over minute 50, and they had a lead late in the third quarter after Michaela Daniels knocked down a three. Daniels, by the way, played her butt off, 31 points in 37 minutes. Just didn't get enough production from other spots. Chrissy Carr added 18, but just about everybody else scored under their average. And even though they had the lead late in the third quarter, Vandy closed the quarter on a 9-2 run, and Arkansas kind of was held at an arm's length for the entire fourth quarter. So that's 5 losses in the last 6 games at a time where even Mike had mentioned on the pregame talk yesterday, I mean, everybody knows it. You want to be playing your best basketball in the month of February, and they're waiting for Arkansas to peak. And right now they haven't peaked up until, I'd say, the peak so far was early January, the first couple of weeks into the month of January, and it's a team that's kind of searching for themselves right now, not getting much bench production, and Mike had mentioned it yesterday. The scoring in some of the games recently has kind of been dominated by one player. You had Aaron Barnum score 37 in the loss to Ole Miss a couple of weeks ago, and then 31 from Mac, and not enough from other sources. He said, and maybe most teams are like this, where when you spread things out, when you get 5 players in double figures, they do really well instead of one player dominating, and other sources kind of go a little bit cold. Man, that makes Monday's game against Missouri pretty darn important. 5 games remaining to secure that NCAA berth. I think Arkansas right now, after yesterday's loss to Vandy, and that was only Vandy's second conference win, right now they might be on the bubble. Very well might be on the bubble. 877-377-6963. The men's team, though, Matt, and remember, was this about a month ago where I remember us talking about, they're not going to end up getting a double bye in Nashville, and it's still, it's not like it's expected.
There's no room for error right now to get it.
There's a chance there to do it.
Yeah, if they went out, get a little help, they could get that 4th spot.
Well, right now Arkansas at 6-5 is tied with Mizzou and with Florida for, let's see here, that would be 6th place in the league, and you get Florida. Florida next Saturday, so that would decide a tiebreaker between the two teams. Hogs split with Mizzou, so I'm not sure what the next tiebreaker is. The teams ahead of the Gators and the Tigers and the Hogs are Auburn and Kentucky. Auburn, just like Arkansas does, they've got Alabama and Tennessee and Kentucky to close out the season. The thing is, though, is this Auburn-Alabama game tomorrow, Matt, that's the first of 2 games that the Tigers have to take on who is right now head and shoulders the best SEC basketball team in the Crimson Tide. So that's a pretty tough schedule looking ahead for Auburn. Bama, Mizzou, at Vandy. Vandy, all of a sudden, they get Liam Robbins back, and they're a whole different team. That's a tough place to play. Tennessee already has figured that out, and maybe Auburn will as well. Then Ole Miss, Kentucky, Alabama, and Tennessee. That's an incredibly tough last 7 games for Auburn, with Ole Miss really the only walkover. Looking at Kentucky's schedule here now. Kentucky at Georgia tomorrow. Then they're at Mississippi State. Then Tennessee at Florida, Auburn, Vandy, and, of course, Arkansas. You'd say that Kentucky doesn't have the toughest, but they do get some teams that are playing some decent basketball here and there.
That last game,
Auburn, and of course Arkansas.
That last game of the season, Phil, could be for the double bye. That could be one of those games where you kind of, if we take care of business going forward, you got to think Alabama probably holds serve. Be tough to see Alabama getting beat. They might take one. They're still college kids. Might take one L, but. A&M is going to be a tough. I mean, they're not an easy out. You're right. That last game of the season against Kentucky could be for the double bye.
Well, we knew it would matter quite a lot as far as the standings were concerned. It's just, you remember the preseason poll showed Kentucky number 1, Arkansas number 2, and we kind of thought that game might decide a regular season championship. Not going to be the case. But when the Razorbacks play anybody, not just basketball, but anything, baseball, softball, football. They had a Tiddlywinks team, and it was on television. You could watch it at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. It's the home of half-price apps and half-price taps during every single televised Razorback event. And there's TVs all around the restaurant, so you're never going to miss a play. You're never going to miss a game. And you get all your favorite apps and beers that are half price during the game. Get over there today, and it's fajita specials. $10 chicken fajitas, $11 steak fajitas, and you get your sides along with it. That's all day long today. Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th in Fort Smith. It's right across from Harps. They're open Tuesday through Saturday. joesfortsmith.com, the website. You can download the Waiter app and put an order in right there. Our number 1 of halftime to wrap up after this.
For a dependable, fuel-efficient tractor from a company committed to the future, choose a Branson tractor. Each of our tractors is backed by a 6-year limited warranty with models available ranging in horsepower from 22 to 58. You are sure to find the tractor that is right for you. Make sure you call or stop in today at the new location for Bush Tractor at 6100 South 0 Street in Fort Smith. Again, that is 6100 South 0 Street in Fort Smith. Or you can check them out online at bushtractor.com.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The homestead tax credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
It's a new year. Why not put a new-to-you vehicle in your driveway? Road Chevrolet wants to buy your vehicle today, and that means you can get out of your old ride and into a great car, truck, or SUV from Road Chevrolet. In fact, trucks starting at only $14,482. Yeah, trucks starting at $14,482. Find new roads. Road Chevrolet, just off I-540 exit 2A Van Buren. Prices you'll love, people you can trust.
Come get you some. 2728 Townsend Avenue is your off-road and performance center headquarters. They've got everything from lift kits, wheels, LED light bars, UTV parts and accessories, winches and tires. Need general 4x4 repair? No problem. Come get you some has one of the largest 4x4 shops in the States. They do it all, from installing a bug shield to building some of the baddest off-road machines in the country. Call them today at 782-6833. That's 782-MUD. Or check them out online at cgysoffroad.com. Come get you some.
Where can you get RV show pricing without the RV show crowd? Breen RV in Van Buren. This month only, we are paying your sales tax on all 22 trailers in stock. Save thousands from Forest River, Coachman, Keystone, and Thor. Don't worry about payments for 90 days. Get free maintenance for life and all of your state sales tax paid at Breen RV. Check out the new Sunray that weighs less than 2,000 pounds. Don't wait until spring. Come by Breen RV today and let us show you how easy it is to buy a new or used RV.
Searching for a promising career change? Looking for an established company that pays competitively and values its team members? Then come be a part of the Beckert family. Beckert in Van Buren has immediate openings for production operators paying up to $29 an hour. Sundays are paid at time and a half, and night shift work has an added premium of $1 per hour. Applications are available 24/7 at Beckert, located off I-40 at Exit 3. Apply today.
Did Cupid shoot you with a crossbow of drama instead of an arrow of true love? Don't let that little cherub ruin the rest of your life. Call Mock Legal Solutions today to stop the bleeding. Schedule a free consultation and ask about our special pricing for new divorce filings in February. 479-769-1505. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
It should compliment Vanderbilt Athletics for having the top refrigerator game in the entire Southeastern Conference. This was an amazing set of options that they had for the media. I mean, usually you get like whatever the soft drink company that sponsors you, either Coke or Pepsi, and then water, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a Pepsi school, and they had Diet Pepsi, they had regular Pepsi, of course, they had the Mountain Dew, they had Bubblies. Matt, this would have been a place for you to come cover a game.
I like it already. Yeah,
they had Bubblies, even the caffeinated Bubblies. They had great Propel water. They had Gatorade in there. And perfect for somebody that was making a 2.5-hour drive after arriving back at XNA yesterday. They had ice-cold espresso and cream community coffee
out of town
refrigerator.
Nice.
I mean, this is way to go, Vandy.
Yeah,
Can't wait to get back there for baseball in May.
Those double espressos, man. I'm not a big coffee guy, but when I do, It's a double espresso is the way to go. Yeah.
Well, I started thinking about coffee a moment ago because you guys are over there eating your Fish City Grill.
Dude.
And I'm on my 10th coffee of the day, counting whatever I drank after midnight when I got in the car.
Salmon tacos today, Phil. The tuna swim downstream and the salmon swim upstream. So I'm all for the salmon tacos.
You're not going to go with the tuna tacos in that case? Come on. No, just the
I'm
salmon
unemployed
tacos
and I
work
live with
just
my
fine.
parents.
That's exactly. Yes. Well said, George. Very well said. Christian, what are you munching on?
He got he's got a little chicken sandwich, I think, or was that fish strip? Yeah, he was going for it.
Yeah, the producer eats while the host is talking. That's smart producing there. Very smart producing. That's Fish City Grill. It's I was in there with
It's
you
first
guys
class.
on
Yeah.
Wednesday. I should have been there today.
Yeah.
Every Friday, Fish City Grill feeding the folks at our headquarters at ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Big thanks to them. They got their monthly chalkboard specials on Facebook. You can visit Fish City Grill in Rogers and Fort Smith and get a little. They've got a Valentine's Day weekend special. It's $49.99 per couple, and you'll get your appetizer, you'll get an entree, and you'll get a dessert along with it. And a great atmosphere, lots of fun at Fish City Grill in Rogers and in Fort Smith. Yeah, B.E.'s right about that. The one thing that I didn't hear at the women's game yesterday, and I've never been to a Vanderbilt men's basketball game nor a football game. I don't know many people that have been to a Vanderbilt football game. I don't know if the Whistler goes to those games. You're not aware about the Whistler, the famous Whistler, are you, Matt Jones?
I am not.
He is the single worst, most annoying fan in the history of sports.
He's like the Jets fireman guy that used to stand out there. Everybody, or is he worse than that? Yeah.
No, he's worse than that because the Jets guy at least is like leading a cheer.
Yeah.
That isn't designed to just
be noise. Yeah.
Just be noise.
Like in the soccer game.
The Whistler is a Vanderbilt baseball fan who just whistles as loud as he
can.
Every game.
Yeah, that's gross. Why are we doing that? Did nobody teach you the right way to how to go about life?
Can I get you to maybe join us in Nashville for the baseball series so you can just stand above him and look down on him? You're the nicest guy on earth, but if you wanted to look mean, you could.
Is it worse than the cowbells?
The Caligazoos in the soccer when they play those, that's just like a bunch of insects buzzing around. But a whistle, I can't do it. Mm-mm.
Hey, stay with us. Hour number 2 of Halftime after the break.
Family first. My dad used to tell us that all the time. But family first wasn't just something he'd say to us. It was how he lived every day of his life. And it's how I try to live mine too.
At Shelter Insurance, our agents are dedicated to helping provide personalized auto, home, and life protection that puts your family first.
Call Jeff Clark in Fort Smith or Brad Howell in Van Buren.
Gray Steel Structures Incorporated is a family-owned business based in Greenwood specializing in steel structures. Owner Will Gray has 20 years experience doing the job right and making sure you're satisfied with the structure you have a need for. Gray Steel Structures serves both commercial and residential customers. Whatever your need may be, mini storage, RV storage, home workshop, or any metal building need, make Gray Steel Structures your first call. Gray Steel Structures, 252-2783. That's 252-2783.
GraySteelStructuresInc.com. That's Gray with an A.
With over 8,000 square feet of all the latest trends in lighting and plumbing fixtures, Great House Fixtures has all the brands you know and love, such as Visual Comfort Lighting and Delta Faucets. Their experienced staff can help you design and select the perfect fixtures for your uniquely you home, including sinks, tubs, faucets, custom showers, indoor and outdoor lighting, chandeliers, mirrors, hardware, and more. Make your house a great house. Learn more at greathousefixtures.com, located on 0th Street in Fort Smith. Great House Fixtures by J&B Supply.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment, not having enough home time, feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, a little rain or snow possible across the north, but the chances will be few and far between. Our high right around 40 degrees, rain likely across the south, with temperatures in the lower 40s. We may see a little rain or snow across the south tonight. Overnight lows will drop down near 30 to the south, mid-20s north. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Tally at the 40, midfield, at the UCF 40, the 30, Tally at the 20, the 10, the 5, touchdown
ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
You said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Produced by Matt Travis.
Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! I'm putting my heart, dog. Let's go, man!
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
Do we believe?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones. Hold the rope! Hold the rope! Hold the rope! 1, 2, 3! Turn that down,
Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
So who's ready to watch Arkansas versus Texas again on the football field in 2024? Because I'm here to tell you it's going to happen. It might not be on the schedule right now, but I think it is on the way. And I think you're going to end up watching Arkansas versus Texas every single year.
Do you think there'll be a constant, if you were to say, because I know we're kind of different on how you think it's going to align and how they're going to rotate. I think if they're in the same division, obviously there'll be a constant if they're both in the West Division. But if you thinking they're all just going to play each other, would they be one of their 3 teams that you think Arkansas play? Or how would you do that? Who would be where's the advantages there?
Man, I mean, there's so many. Arkansas doesn't have the rivalries inside the SEC that a lot of the other programs do. That you think you have a rivalry with LSU, but LSU will point to 2.
It's a trophy game.
It matters.
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
You have a rivalry with Ole Miss. Ole Miss will point to a couple of other schools that they might view a little bit differently. Man, you already have one built in with Texas, and I really think that the SEC wants Arkansas and Missouri to be a thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been the crossover opponent to begin with. I think you're going to be stuck with Missouri. I saw other, prognostications, predictions, what have you, about what this might look like, and I saw somebody said Arkansas will play Oklahoma, Texas, and Missouri on an annual basis. You're like, all right, well, I guess Arkansas did join the Big 12. But
wow.
I don't like that
Yeah.
idea. I saw another one that said they'd play against Kentucky, which felt a little bit awkward. Kentucky, Texas, and Missouri.
Well, if you get basketball, if you're thinking, I guess they're going to do it all different. I like that. I like having an OU or Texas, but I definitely think that Texas matchup would be key. That
basketball, you're going to play. You're going to play
everybody
every year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, it'll end up just being, what is the schedule at now? 18. So you'll have a couple of teams that you play twice, and that's it. With baseball, you got to figure that out too, because they're not going to increase the number of league games. They already have 30 league games played.
If you play everybody once, that would be what, 3 times 15? It'd be 45. Yeah.
Out of a 56-game schedule.
You can't do that.
It's already a meat grinder. I don't see that happening. So they'll have to figure out a way to do that, and probably have permanent opponents of some sort. and then rotating opponents. I really do think the SEC will be doing away with divisions. The Big Ten's already said they're going to do that. I think divisions will be a bygone thing in major college football. And I think
they're missing out. Yeah, I think you have your East and your West and your football. You're able to play for that right to go instead of taking your best two. I don't know, but they are expanding it to 12-team playoff.
Well, and so yeah, that's true. That expanding it to 12 allows you to do that, I think. But it's also, like Arkansas plays Florida every 6 years. They'll play
South Carolina
every 6 years. Georgia every 6 years. So it's tough to feel like you're in a league with those teams. Otherwise, it's like what the American League and National League used to be like. When they first started interleague play, it actually felt like wow, we're playing somebody we don't ever play anymore. But in football, it doesn't quite have that kind of pull. I feel like, and I think this is the way the league is going towards. You'll end up playing the same 3 teams on an annual basis. It's not called a pod. It's just everybody has 3 permanent opponents, and then you'll end up rotating either the 5 games that are left, or if they advance to a 9-game schedule, 6 that are left, and you'll play everybody on a 2-year basis, and it'll feel more like a league. Otherwise, like, just do the divisions, and then you're playing what? Then you would have 2 8-team divisions. You'd play 7 games in your division,
and then have
you'd play 1 or 2 against the other division. One of them,
and they rotate. Yeah,
one of them would probably be a permanent opponent. The SEC,
Missouri.
Like
well, if Missouri's going to be on the West, you could do a Kentucky then if you wanted to go that way.
Mm-hmm. I also think that there is some value to making sure that it's the top. And it's not like the SEC has dealt with this on too much on an annual basis. Like, Alabama and Georgia have been the dominant teams in this league in each division for a few years now, so it's not quite the same as like when Missouri won the SEC East and they couldn't match up to the Alabama Crimson Tide, or if they played Auburn in the conference championship. But that happens in the Big Ten every year, though, where the West Division champion is nowhere near as competitive as the East Division champion. And what is it? Like, I think the East Division has won 9 of the last 10 Big Ten championship games, if not all 10 of them. The SEC hasn't quite been in that direction. But I do think they'll want to have number 1 versus number 2 to have the feel of it being really the 2 best teams in the league instead of 2 division champions.
I wouldn't schedule anybody but an FCS school for out of conference. If you got OU, Texas, and you still and then you get Alabama, LSU, Georgia. I mean, you look at who you got to play, and then you got to go again and play an SEC championship game. I mean, that is the SEC is already the toughest conference in college football. You're just making it that much tougher. But if you're getting 12 teams in, maybe you get 3 teams in every year, so you got a good chance to make that tournament. If you're getting 3 every year out of the SEC, you got a chance to win the national championship.
Don't you feel like you're already like slotting 3 of those 12 teams to the Southeastern Conference already?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just kind of feels like that's the way it's going to go right now. Because this year you would have had Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee amongst those top 12. Even though Tennessee kind of faltered at the end, they would have made it there. I don't remember what the rankings looked like, but I'm pretty sure they'd have made it there. But you know what this does? Like, if once the SEC makes the decision to go to a 9-game schedule, they're going to have to blow up some contracts for non-conference games. You realize Georgia is like scheduled out all the way through 2030. Through 2030, they've got 4 non-conference games scheduled for every year, but that's going on what they then assumed would remain an 8-game conference schedule. But you're going to move to 9, which means, like, look at the next 4 years. So next season, you'll have your usual schedule of what you've been used to. And then you can play your non-conference Western Carolina, Kent State, BYU, and Florida International. In 24, when OU and Texas join the league, and we know what the schedule looks like by then, and they've probably advanced to 9 games, who's off the schedule? UAPB at Oklahoma State, Alabama, Birmingham, and Louisiana Tech. Who's off that schedule, or who do you push?
You take Oklahoma State off
in the decade.
Yeah, you push Oklahoma State off. If you're adding OU and Texas to your schedule, Keep it. I like that UAB. I like the Kent States of the world, the Western Kentuckys, the Hilltoppers. You know, they're that's what they're good for. You know, we got to get a dub.
Well, you get a 4-game series scheduled with Oklahoma State, but there is some leeway. You know, you got 3 games scheduled in 26. You got 2 in 27, 2 in 28. So that's when you can start pushing some of those non-conference games back.
And if you do this, Phil, if Oklahoma State does come to the SEC in 3 years, 4 years, and then you have 2 10-team SEC divisions, and then you can play everybody in your division, then you play each other. That's what I think they're eventually going to go to, but we might be 6 years, 7 years down the road for that, because couldn't you see Oklahoma State and Baylor coming into the SEC, and then you add in 2 other guys on that SEC or the East Coast around there if it was Florida State or –
It feels to me right now like the Big 12 is in addition mode, not subtraction mode.
Okay.
I think the ACC would be the more poachable of the leagues.
Like a Florida State, yeah.
Like a Florida State, that's exactly right. Like a Clemson, you know, maybe a Miami, although I'm not sure Miami has a fit, but, I mean – geographically, they certainly are, and at that
Georgia
point,
Tech, yeah.
You get to 18 teams, you get to 20 teams, then we can throw the term super conference around. Then you're doing what like Major League Baseball used to do, where the 2 divisions don't play each other ever until it's a conference championship.
You have
game.
A true conference championship. Yep. Take number ones versus number ones.
Then it's a whole different framework of the way college football has ever worked, and it would be a little wild. All right, so Paul in Midway texted in. I think he wants a whole segment about hatred for Texas.
That's every day's show. Yeah, well, there's an underlying theme of Texas and Tennessee you can go on. Yeah,
there's when Clay is on with us and you get him going on Texas, that's adding fuel.
Seeing
to the fire.
orange.
Yeah, Paul in Midway has a real hatred for Texas, as most of you do, but he fired off 4 texts in a 4-minute period. All about hating Texas. He says, Matt Jones hates Texas as much as I do. Could we have a hatred off? Could we have a Texas hate off between some listeners and you and Clay Henry? Because I don't like Texas, but I think it's kind of more ingrained in
I don't know anybody
and a lot of our listeners
that's a fan of Texas around here. I couldn't tell you one person that's like, yeah, I kind of like Texas. I think it's in the water in Arkansas. I think it's just how it is, how you've grown up.
Yeah, they'd say hatred can burn you from the inside out, right? It kind of keeps the flame going here in Arkansas, the hatred of Texas.
Yeah, I was a TJ Ford fan, a Kevin Durant fan. There's players that I've liked that have went through. Derek Brooks, you know, there's guys that have played at Texas that I'm a fan of, but just in general, yeah, Texas, it's always a good day when Texas loses.
It's not like you rooted for them when they played for Texas, because you know a lot better than that, Matt Jones. That's for sure.
No, I didn't root for them. There's a talent there. You know, it's like you see a soccer player go to your other team. You're like, man, I don't like Arsenal, but I like some of the players they have. Soccer is getting so good.
Halftime is brought to you by Crabtree RV Center. They will be hosting the Greater River Valley RV Show February 16th through the 19th, right there at their own campus at Crabtree RV Center. They got the best prices of the year on their inventory and accessories. Special sale pricing on every RV on the lot. The Greater River Valley RV Show at Crabtree RV Center is located off I-40 exit 13 next to the Cracker Barrel in Alma. So get over there and explore for your new RV at the Greater River Valley RV Show. You can also go online to crabtreerv.com. Talking Arkansas baseball with former Razorback pitcher James Teague on halftime. Next.
The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
When you can add someone, you make it work if you can make it better. Do you want to be a team that could potentially end up in Houston, Texas? You add Nick back, that's at least a conversation you can have. You can't have that conversation if he doesn't suit up in a Razorback uniform.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned. Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all. When you stay overnight, you want the accommodations to feel comfortable and feel like home. Well, at Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, you get exactly that. You can check out all their locations at bphotels.com. They have locations in Fayetteville, Bentonville, Little Rock, Jonesboro, Conway, El Dorado, Arkadelphia, North Little Rock, Bryant, Hot Springs, Ardmore, Oklahoma, and coming soon to Kansas City. bphotels.com. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, looking forward to serving you in 2023.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply.
3 seasons from 2014 through 2016. Of course, part of that 2015 College World Series Ball Club. And James also represents the Teague Law Firm. So from the pitcher's mound to the courtroom, James, not the only guy who's done it, but that happened pretty quickly. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to touch base and check in. How are you doing?
I'm all right. We got baseball in a week, man. I mean, there's excitement abounding, though a little. There's excitement. I wouldn't say that it's disappointment. It's just you're disappointed for the injury to Jackson Wiggins because I mean the kid's got a lightning arm, and I think there were heavy expectations on him for this year. Reports, and I saw him pitch a little in the fall. He'd had himself a great fall season. You never know with those elbow injuries, though. It's like there's a rash of those injuries, and it's been a long time now in baseball for the last 15, 20 years, James. What did you ever deal with an elbow injury like that? You didn't have to have Tommy John while you pitched at Arkansas, but did you ever deal with elbow injuries?
So I did not, but Phil, I think we're seeing injuries a little bit more common in today's game. We're seeing guys throwing much higher velocities, and we're seeing, it's not uncommon to have multiple guys, 95, 96, 97. And I think the reality is there's just more injuries that come with that. It's really tough to see him go down at the start of the season. There's so much enthusiasm and excitement, and how's it going to shape up and everything. And, it's terrible to see. Me personally, I had some injuries here and there, some nagging injuries, but no major surgeries, no Tommy John. But, it's hard to say. It's not always in the back of your mind when you feel a pinch in the elbow of, is this the one that's going to take me out? So, like you said, it is really tough to see. I think fortunately we've got a lot of depth from the pitching position, and I think we can fill that role, but it's really tough to replace, a projected top round pick that just was showing so much potential at the start of the year.
I was going to ask about the idea of that always being in the back of your mind. Like, even if you're not injured, if you don't feel that tweak, it's just, was it like a feeling like, because you threw hard enough. I mean, you weren't 100 miles an hour or anything like that, but I remember watching you. You got it into the 90s, and it's like you can't. You trust your conditioning. You trust what your coach is doing with you. You've worked on your mechanics, for almost since you were born, almost in some cases. But there's just like the idea that it's an unnatural motion, throwing above your head like that. That's why softball pitchers can throw 21 innings on a weekend on occasion. And, baseball pitchers need 3 weeks in order to get that done. It's just an unnatural motion. So I guess that's just something that's stuck in the back of your mind sometimes, that this could just happen because injuries to pitchers like that occur.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I don't always think there's a reason or there's something to blame or to say it was this or that or this program or throwing. Sometimes these things just happen. And, some people's mechanics, I think, make them more prone to this type of injury. But, there's a lot of throwing that goes into being a Division I pitcher. There's a lot of prep work, a lot of throwing, a lot of bullpens, a lot of games. And sometimes it just works out a way that, these injuries happen. But, I know that he'll bounce back. He'll have the surgery. I saw he's already scheduled down there in Arlington to have it with the doctor down there. And, I think that he's going to be great. It just stinks, obviously, as a Hog fan, not to get to see him perform, and show out, as we were kind of hoping this would kind of be his big breakout season, to be the guy that we kind of always thought he maybe could have been, to actually kind of put all the pieces together.
James, Matt Jones here. As a former player, I always liked every year meeting with the officials and the referees and kind of going over some rule changes. What are your thoughts on this 10-run rule? And as a player, would you be for it?
Well, Matt, good to check in with you. I'm kind of in the middle. I like the traditional rules. I like the game to kind of stay as it is, but I also recognize some people like to see things sped up. They like to see the game progress, and whether it be a pitch clock or it be this run rule. We see changes at the major league level happening all the time, and then now college level lagging behind a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm for it or against it, but there's always going to be both sides of that when you're messing with a game that has those purists, those traditionals who love to just see the game as it's always been.
Have you seen any games with the pitch clock yet? I watched some minor league baseball games last year that used the pitch clock, and you couldn't even tell, but you could tell the game was moving along and it's not a brisk pace. I think it's moving along more at the pace that the game was intended to be played at. Kind of the way they played it in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s before things really started to slow down. And the pitch clock is going to be a thing for college baseball this year. They're paying a heck of a lot more attention to it. As a pitcher, you want to be able to set the pace to the game, but faster is always better than slower, isn't it?
Well, if you're throwing a lot of strikes, faster's better. But sometimes, if you get off a little bit, then you need to slow down. You need to regroup. You need to have a mound visit. Kind of do these things. I think for guys who like to stay in the groove, they like to work quick, they like to attack hitters. Faster usually is better. So I think the pitchers can kind of dictate that based on how they're doing and what their preference is. I agree with you. I don't think that the hitter needs to step out and adjust his gloves and look at the sky and, mess around outside the box between every pitch. I think the faster pace is better for fans and for pitchers and for players. But maybe there's a middle ground there, not a strict clock that needs to be enforced. But like you just stated, the game seems to be kind of following the path of what it would anyways if the pitch clock wasn't there. I think that's where it's supposed to be.
A lot of expectations for this Arkansas baseball team. We saw the football team be a top 10 team for a little bit. We saw the basketball team be in the top 25s, and both of them kind of faltered out. Do you think this baseball team can hold up and be a top 10 team and make it back to Omaha this year?
Well, I do. I think, and that's because of the depth that I think this team brings. I think, to really make a run late in the season, you need that depth. And one thing that I think Van Horn does such a tremendous job at is putting the pieces together as the season goes along. Some days we get blown out at home in a midweek and, fans are upset and, understandably so, but, there's things that we're learning from those games. We're learning, who can produce, who can't, who can we trust in the big spot, maybe who isn't ready yet, and the same with the starting rotation, who's going to give us some depth, who's going to give us some innings, who can get outs. And so I think when you have a lot of depth, especially from the pitching staff, you're going to be able to move those pieces around as the season goes on and figure out, okay, when we get into conference play, when we get closer to the end of the season, what have we learned throughout the course of the season to know that we now have the pieces in the right spot? And I think Hobbs and Van Horn are just do a tremendous job at that. And I think that's why we see them have success year in and year out. They not only have great players, they create a great culture, but they also know how to put the pieces together. And fortunately, this year we have a lot of pieces to work with from a pitching staff, from all the reports from the fall and everything else.
Well, what it means at times, and you're this kind of pitcher, you got to be ready to go in at a moment's notice. Because you got to be like a Swiss Army knife. James, in his career, made 49 appearances as a pitcher at Arkansas, 12 starts. The rest were in relief. And there's a season where he about split things evenly between the bullpen and the starting rotation. So I'm assuming you're given at least like 24 hours, a little bit more notice before you start in most cases. But you still have to be ready no matter what. And that's one thing, that's an aspect of this pitching staff. I think the rotation could change every once in a while if they feel like a pitcher needs a weekend off because they don't need to ride anybody so hard. At least that's the way that it looks going into the season. But, it's different like in the majors where you kind of know your starting pitchers are the starting pitchers. You know your relievers are the relievers. Things don't shake out that way until sometimes they don't shake out ever. It's just, roles change throughout a college baseball season. And that's one thing that stood out to me once I started doing the college broadcast, James, is rotations don't always stay the same. Relief roles don't always stay the same. You just got to be ready, man.
Yeah, I think we saw a great example of that with Hagen Smith last year. He's really did well throughout the course of the year as a starter, and then we get into regional play, and he's coming out of the bullpen, and we kind of saw a little bit of a different guy, a little bit of a different mentality. And, for him, I think shaking that up and kind of getting him back into attack mode out of the bullpen was what he needed to get back on track. And we may see some of that this year with Freddie Tigert, whether he, continues to be in that relief position, kind of that closer role, or if they can stretch him into a starter. I think, before Wiggins went down, there was maybe going to be some of that with him as well. I think he was, pegged in to be a big-time starter. But you bring up a great point in that so many things happen from opening day, to the time you get to postseason. 2015 started opening day and then went straight to the bullpen. Wasn't really cut out to be a great starter. Didn't have the command needed to really go deep in games, and so had to fight your way back in the bullpen. And so I think there's going to be a lot of those storylines that we're going to be able to follow throughout the course of the season. Who kind of shows the role that they were kind of meant to be in. I think those things kind of work themselves out as the season goes on, just based on how guys perform, based on the opportunities they get, and based on what the coaches are seeing and what roles that they want to see them perform at. And I'm excited to see all those storylines unfold, to see how these guys perform.
Well, and you also know it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Or it's really how things are going in the middle of the season. You go back and look at that 2015 team that made it to the College World Series. You guys had to get really hot from about the third or fourth week of SEC play to the end of it just to make the NCAA tournament. You went on the road as a 2 seed, and I think there were some prognostications that had Arkansas as a 3 seed that year. When you go back and look at 2015 and everything that went into that season, Are you surprised that team made it to Omaha?
Well, I think it's fair to say that everyone was pretty surprised that he made it to Omaha. I mean, it was by the end of the year, between injuries and between guys going out and our depth, it appeared on paper as kind of a ragtag bunch. But I think that, we had a good culture, that we had a good group of guys who were really close, who really wanted to win, and who knew that, we may not have on paper the greatest staff. We may not have, this high draft pick or this or that, but we were going to compete and show up. And I think that kind of got us over the hurdle. We obviously had Zach Jackson, who was giving us great innings out of the extended relief out of the bullpen, as well as some other guys. But, with this team, I think if they can match that culture, they can match that intensity, they can match, that desire to show up every day and work, and then also have the talent on top of that they have, I think that's really where, you see teams go to the next level.
Well, Benny took that big step forward that year. I mean, he had the injured wrist the year before, and then all of a sudden, wow, 400 batting average, 20 jacks, Golden Spikes Award. Every year that a team goes to the College World Series, and this isn't just at Arkansas, it's everywhere else, somebody takes a giant leap forward, either because they're healthy or they just figured something out, like Kevin Kopps in 2021. Connor Nolan figured some things out last year. You never really know who's going to take that leap forward. You just have like a sense in the back of your mind, somebody's going to take that big jump. And I wonder who it's going to be this year. I thought it would be Wiggins. I think Hagen Smith can take that giant leap forward, and Peyton Stovall, I think, is going to take that big jump.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think Benny, he was always meant to be a star, just based on his moxie and his makeup and his talent. It was just a matter of him putting it together. For me, I would like to see Brady Tiger. I'm really curious to see how his season plays out because, the breaking ball is obviously unbelievable. He's got a great fastball to go with it. If he could find ways to mix those two, throw the fastball for a strike enough to where that breaking ball is even more deadly, and throw enough strikes and command the ball to be a starter, I mean, the sky is kind of the limit for him. So I'm curious to see the role that he fits into. Maybe they want to push him into that starter role more with Wiggins being out, or maybe they say, we want you to affect 2 games a weekend instead of 1 and come out of the bullpen and play and be in that closer role. So I'm really looking forward to that story. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's always guys who are going to break out and perform, and you really need that, to make a run late into the season.
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing this throughout the baseball season, and hopefully it goes deep into June because you know what that means if we're doing these segments in the middle or the latter part of June. But man, I mean, you got a good thing going as with the Teague Law Firm. You ended your pitching career 2018. How quickly did it take you to get through law school? And tell me what you think about practicing law.
Well, I was on the road in pro ball studying for the LSAT, so there was a little bit of overlap there. I knew which direction I was wanting to go. But yeah, it was just a quick 3 years, got through law school, graduated, passed the bar, and so here we are. And I'm kind of jumping on, with the Teague Law Firm, and they've got 30 years of experience, primarily focusing in family law and in criminal practice. And so I'm walking into an environment that is very well prepared, that has had just really a ton of experience in the Northwest Arkansas area. And, sometimes you say family law and people say, oh, how is that? But, it's kind of ironic. It's kind of like pitching on Friday night because, the stakes are high, very emotional. But, if you show up every day and you think, I'm here to fight for you and I'm here to battle for these people and get them what they deserve, it's kind of similar like showing up on Friday night, battling for your team. So there's a little bit of overlap there as far as mentality, but I'm just really grateful to, join on in the staff here and, piggyback on the 30 years of experience in the Northwest Arkansas area.
Last thing, you're an Oklahoma native. They listed Bartlesville as your hometown. With Oklahoma joining the SEC, what does that do, for you as far as like social circles with friends that you had from Oklahoma? And you think it's going to be an adjustment period for OU to join the SEC in baseball?
Well, I hope it is, so we can finally put to rest the SEC Big 12 discussion. I think anyone who's playing the SEC or is an SEC fan, they're a little biased. SEC's the best of the best, but growing up in Oklahoma, some people would like to argue that. So I'm actually excited to say, okay, well, now we get to find out for real. So
James, appreciate you, man. Looking forward to doing this throughout the season. Have a great weekend, and we'll do it again Friday on opening day next week.
Yeah, Phil, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to, getting to talk baseball with you for the rest of the season.
That's James Teague from the Teague Law Firm. And at the Teague Law Firm, you're going to talk to actual lawyers. They'll give you the direct cell phone. You don't have to go through 4 or 5 different people to actually talk to your lawyer. Call James and the Teague Law Firm at 479-531-2785. You can also go online to teague-law.com. They'll help you with most family law matters, including divorce, custody, and child support, criminal law, including felony and misdemeanor. Even if you have an estate need, James at Teague Law Firm can fill your needs there, too. 479-531-2785. More halftime after the break.
While most of us are familiar with the opioid epidemic, we forget about the threat we faced for decades, methamphetamine. Meth is our biggest drug threat, and the number of people dying each year continues to grow. It's destroying our communities. You've seen it. It might not have been your kid or your parent, but it was someone you know. To find ways to help, go to meovermeth.org. Choose your community. Choose your family. Choose yourself. I choose me over meth.
This message is sponsored by the North Arkansas Partnership for Health Education and the Me Over Meth grant.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, we'll use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Love is in the air at Crane Used Car Supercenter of Fort Smith. And dealer-operator Joe Pulliam is making sweetheart deals all month long. Like pre-owned vehicles starting as low as $7,497. Or payments as low as $269 a month. You'll fall in love with a Crane Pre-Loved with lots to choose from. Kias and Land Rovers to full-size trucks, all backed by the Crane commitment. Rush to the Crane Used Car Supercenter, 8200 US 71 South in Fort Smith. UAC, see dealer for details.
Art's Barbecue and Burgers has the best burger in town. And every Saturday, enjoy any burger at Art's and get $1 off. Try Art's Bacon Cheeseburger, topped with house smoked bacon, or the Art Attack with bacon, ham, and a fried egg. And all of Art's burgers come with a mound of fresh cut fries, or upgrade to Art's homemade onion rings. $1 off all burgers every Saturday at Art's Barbecue and Burgers, 8203 Rogers Avenue, next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-STORE or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
With over 40 years combined experience, the team at the law offices of Craig L. Cook understand the definition of work, real work, working for you. Whether you've been injured in an auto accident, on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help navigating bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westart Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westart Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drains, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game.
ESPN 95.3.
Hey, City!
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
I appreciate the text from Mark. Just sent us a photo of the entrance to Wrigley Field. The home run in says the official pizza of the Chicago Cubs in Wrigley Field. You ever been to Wrigley Field, Matt?
I have. I got my first tattoo after a Cubs game. Went to a Cubs game in Chicago with my buddies, and we sat right there on the third base line. It was against the Rockies when they had Big Cat. Andre I can't say his name.
Galarraga.
Yeah, he was out there.
That's a while ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like rookie year or so. But yeah, it was. Went to Wrigley, man. It had some old styles.
That's right.
Like $14 old styles. You know, it was.
They're giant. They're really big old styles.
Had a great time. Great.
Worth every penny.
It was a great. Beautiful day. It was. Late April. It was a perfect day.
Well, so
you were in the third base seats. You were in the Ferris Bueller seats.
Right there on the thing, I got in trouble twice for sticking my drink on top of. I was on the front row right there, I won't do it again because I can't move my knees. When you're right there on the front row. But
any chance you broke your thumb catching a line drive?
And homie, he threw me a ball. Yeah, because we're right there where they're warming up and stuff, and it's like
you got a ball at your first game at Wrigley.
Yeah,
you and I are part of a club then.
And then we saw Big Cat in the hallway at the hotel, and he signed it for us. Yeah. The people. It was a wild. Yeah, it was fun.
I'm named after a Cub.
You were named after Christian
Ryan Sandberg. Actually, my middle name's Ryan.
I was going to say I don't know a Cub named Christian or Johnston. At least not at the top of
Christian Ryan Johnston.
So were you number 23 when you played?
No, I wasn't actually, but my dad's a huge Cubs fan, and
second baseman. You said you were
and
second
I did play
baseman.
Second.
Yeah,
I wasn't his number though, but yeah, I was named after Ryan Sandberg. Yeah.
That's pretty
Too bad
cool.
You weren't named after Ron Say. We could call you the Penguin. It'd be a great nickname for
Or Andre Dawson. We could call you the Hawk.
And I ran into Ron Santo while I was at a game before he passed away. So just a little bit of history.
I was going to call in here from Charlie. And by the way, Santo should have been in the Hall of Fame before he passed away. That was tragic. Hey, Charlie. Appreciate you holding through that interview with James Teague. How you doing, man?
I actually enjoyed. I'm doing great, Phil. I enjoyed listening to that. It was good stuff. So he's kind of
glad to bring you a little entertainment while you're on the hold.
Yeah, it was definitely good. And so I don't remember him on last year. So he's going to be doing baseball with you guys.
Yeah, he'll be here every Friday with us to talk about Arkansas baseball and some other things. Because when you're talking baseball these days, like rules changes, culture of the sport. You have to also keep in mind, too, like James' last pitch for Arkansas in 2016, so that was 7 years ago. The program is different than it was then, a lot, in terms of, the technology
prestige.
And the facilities that they're working with. Even the prestige, too, and I think in 2015 and 16 it was a prestigious program. You get 3 trips to
they
Omaha
were really
since
starting
then,
to
so
come
a little
on,
more
yeah.
so now. That's right.
Well, I was thinking about last year going into the year, Phil, and if you can remind me, your expectations going into last year, I know were high for that team. But you talked about, I don't think last year we really knew pitching-wise exactly where we were going to be. I think the strength going into last year, weren't we ranked number 1 going into last year? I can't remember.
No, I don't remember who the preseason number 1 was, but I don't
I don't worry about I just know that we were up there pretty high, and I think the idea last year was we were going to be a great hitting team, correct? That we didn't. The pitching was I guess, question mark, so to speak, last year.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
Legit to say because you had young pitchers that had to fill into some roles, and
Connor hadn't came on yet, really.
The pen without Kevin Kopps, and the roles changed throughout the season. The lineup was up and down. The one thing you could count on last year was fielding. They made the plays in the field. And for me right now, that's the one. That's like top of the list of the things that I'm just not sure about. I think they'll hit. They're going to pitch. I don't know how good the fielding is going to be, and it'll probably be good. But you're always comparing to what you saw the year before. Nobody will be as good as last year or the year before defensively.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you can be as good as Battles and Moore right there in the middle. And even moving what you call it over. But yeah, I agree. Those two guys are remarkable. It's unbelievable. We're gonna miss them. But I was thinking, about it, and I know the loss. I hate that for Jackson, man. Now, as far as Tommy John surgery in today's times, when you're coming back from that injury, it's easier nowadays, right, to get back to where you were, or is it still pretty hard to come back from? Am I right by that? I mean,
the term easy wouldn't be the right way to put it. It's just
no, it's hard. Yeah.
You have to work so hard at rehab to get back into proper shape, and there's an emotional aspect to it as well. These kids have been playing. It's like the same thing with Jalen Catalon, just a little bit different because Catalon dealt with the injury 2 years in a row. But to miss a full season, and you're just never used to that. You've been pitching, Jackson's been pitching for like
his whole life.
14 years, his whole life. So there's an emotional aspect to it. There's no reason to rush back from this, though.
No
usually
doubt.
It takes about a year to get back, but then you got to fine tune everything all over again. So there's no reason to rush back. I would imagine if Jackson Wiggins, if he were to return for next year, I can't imagine he'd be ready for the start of the season.
I agree.
A guy that you bring in maybe a month after or a month and a half after.
It also probably takes a while to get that velocity back, right? He may lose a little velocity from the surgery too, right? Maybe a mile per hour.
You end up getting a lot of that velocity back. And I remember bringing this up last year. I can't remember the term of the surgery, but it all depends on where the tear on the ligament occurred.
Yeah.
Brace surgery, I think is what it was called. And if you're able to utilize that surgery, and again, I think it all depends on the location on the ligament of where the tear happened. Brace surgery will get you back quicker. And it's a whole different form of surgery. So I don't know the makeup of where this occurred for Wiggins or how long they expect him to be out. You just know he's not going to pitch this year, and it's still going to take, it'll take at least 12 months to get back to where, you're probably like throwing off a mound and even being close to being ready to face hitters.
Yeah, no doubt. And no disrespect to Wiggins, though. I think he was going to have a great year. I read that at first and thought it said Hagen Smith, and my eyes went, I was like, no. It's like our big lefty. I was like, our best lefty, no way, this can't be happening. But anyway, I hope he comes back, or not necessarily comes back to Arkansas, but gets back to full strength and can really follow his dream, because he's definitely got a lot of talent. I want to say before I go, guys, tomorrow's game, I think Mississippi State's on a little bit of a roll here, and so I don't know if it's necessarily going to be the easiest one, but as far as Nick tomorrow, do you think it's kind of similar? Do you think, look, I just want people to understand he ain't going to come back and score 20 in the first game. And if it happens, that's crazy. But, look, he's probably not going to play probably 10 to 15 minutes or less. So everybody just needs to chill. We got to be patient with all this. And like you said, Matt, yesterday, he really needs to lock in defensively, because I think the offense will take a little time to kind of get back into a rhythm. Anyways, guys, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Charlie. Good to hear from you, as always.
Got to get your legs back. That's it. Played good defense, offense. He's so naturally gifted. He's the best player on the team, so it will be easier to integrate the best player. But you got to get basketball shape, man. You make bad decisions when you get tired, you get lazy, and it just takes you 2 weeks to really get going. And if you're looking at it, all things being considered, Phil, about the right time, right? It's about, if we're going to do it, let's do it. Let's get him back in and let's go to war. Let's go to battle if he's going to play. Obviously you'd like to have him there for the entire year, but this is about, you got plenty of games. You got 21 days or so that he gets to get back into it and see how that knee holds up, because if you don't get a double bye, Phil, it's back-to-back games in the SEC tournament. You played and the next day you play. He hasn't been able, that knee, we don't know what's going on. So
back-to-back games, a lot of times where we hear the term management thrown out in the NBA. So
right.
You end up seeing some management at that point. Wes and Harrison texted in, Brock Purdy also had a torn UCL. The quarterback from Iowa State that made all the big news over at San Francisco, he's having brace surgery. I'd seen where his recovery is expected to be 6 months. He'll be ready to compete for preseason practice with this brace surgery. But as far as I understand, it all depends on the location of the injury on the ligament, and I have no idea where the location on the ligament of Jackson Wiggins, where that injury occurred. But he'll miss this season no matter what. I guess it matters on where that injury occurred on the ligament if he'll be ready to come back next year. Wrapping up hour number 2 next.
Jelco Outdoors at 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith has the gear for nasty winter weather. Warm boots, insulated clothing, warm socks and gloves, insulated underwear, hand warmers, and all the gear for the kids, moms, and dads. Don't let that nasty winter weather slow you down. Go to Jelco Outdoors, your locally owned outdoor store, for all your winter weather gear. Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Hi, this is Melissa Vitale, owner of True Grit Running Company. Your young athlete deserves the best when it comes to footwear. After all, it's good to start early so they don't have problems in the future. We've got options for training, cross-country, gym class, and more. Our well-trained staff can guide your student athlete through our personalized fit process to help find that True Grit fit. And for our cross-country kids, we offer a 10% discount off of your total purchase. Visit our store in Fort Smith, located behind Chick-fil-A.
Watch every Hog game this season at Joe's Grill and Cantina, your home for half-price apps and taps during every Hog game. With TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat for all the action. Half-price appetizers like Joe's Sampler Platter, Ballpark Nachos, 10-layer dip, brisket nachos, and Mexican pizza. And ask about Joe's tailgate packages to make your football experience even better in the comfort of your home. Half-price apps and taps for every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Do you need an attorney that you can actually speak with? You need Hickey & Hull Law Partners. The attorneys at Hickey & Hull understand the importance of client communication and are taking the time to meet you, respond to emails, and return calls. Every case is important, and they strive to give each one the time and attention it deserves. Call today or visit them online at kevinhickeylaw.com to set your consultation. Hickey & Hull Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Gray Steel Structures Incorporated is a family-owned business based in Greenwood specializing in steel structures. Owner Will Gray has 20 years experience doing the job right and making sure you're satisfied with the structure you have a need for. Gray Steel Structures serves both commercial and residential customers. Whatever your need may be, mini storage, RV storage, home workshop, or any metal building need, make Gray Steel Structures your first call. Gray Steel Structures, 252-2783. That's 252-2783.
GraySteelStructuresinc.com. That's Gray with an A.
And we're back with breaking news. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any Coke fan, so make sure you... Jim. Jim. We're on the air.
Ooh, yes, this tastes like the best Coke ever to me. Your thoughts, Jen?
Well, can I have a sip?
Jen, we're in the middle of reporting the news.
I need to try it first.
Nobody will give you more for your trade than Harry Robinson, Saddlesall Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Saddlesall. Troy, one of the reasons why you have such a great pre-owned inventory is you do give more for the trade.
Yes, you know, we are the home of more for your trade. That's what we've always said. We want to hold to that. We want to give you more money for your vehicle than any other dealer out there. So it doesn't even matter where you're shopping. We've talked about this before. If you're shopping down the road or out of town, out of state, it doesn't matter. Give us the opportunity to purchase your vehicle because it's only going to help you. It can lower your payment on the vehicle you're purchasing, put you in a better equity position, get you a better interest rate. Come down here and see us and let us do a quick appraisal.
And you have a great selection of pre-owns in stock right now.
Yes, we really do. Hey, we've got four-wheel drive trucks less than $20,000. We've got cars less than 20 grand that gets 40 miles to the gallon. This is where you want to buy your next vehicle. Come down here and see us.
Harry Robinson, Saddlesall Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Saddlesall, and online at harryrobinson.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Give them a call or send them a text at 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend, Matt Jones.
Have you entered to win our historic Valentine's Day giveaway at the historic Arlington Resort Hotel and Spa in downtown Hot Springs? Well, you won't only just win that, you'll also get dinner on the veranda. You'll get everything there is to see and do in downtown Hot Springs. You get a couples massage at the Arlington Spa, 14-karat white gold and ruby pendant and chain from Swift's Jewelry in Fayetteville, and $150 gift cards to both Richard's Country Meat Market and to Cupid's Lingerie. Richard's Country Meat Market, love is at stake. Yuck, yuck. So call Richard's. Win the heart of your loved one with a home-cooked meal with Richard's Sweetheart Steak, 479-443-0000 to reserve one, or stop by at 3042 North Market Avenue in Fayetteville. You go to hitthatline.com. All you got to do, enter your email and hit the continue button, and you're entered. Simple as that. Ruskin and Zach announced the winners on Monday. And I was going to ask the question, is it all right to cook a Valentine's Day meal, or do you feel pressure to go to some fancy restaurant where they're going to basically ask for $65 at the least? I think cooking is a nice way to spend a Valentine's Day, isn't it? Instead of getting all dressed up and going out with all the expectations that go with it, why not pour expectations on yourself of, please don't let me ruin this meal?
Phil, I think I'm a pretty decent cook. I like to cook. I look for any opportunity to cook. So it's
you're a soup maker.
It's an era. It's like basketball players in different eras. The era right now is we're doing soup. So
you're in a soup. You're stuck on soup. These
days.
Lot
of porridge. A lot of Irish porridge. A lot of soups. Yeah.
I don't know anybody that eats porridge. What is porridge?
Oatmeal, exactly? Just that steel cut oatmeal.
All right.
Yeah,
it's the steel cut stuff.
It takes a while to make. Yeah, dude, you put that syrup, that sugar syrup that I got you a bottle of for. You put 1 spoon for your sugar. You know, it's just like 3 grams. You don't want too much. Throw you some blueberries in there. I'm telling you that you'll be every day. You'll eat the whole bowl.
Man, sounds great. Walk outside. Don't even need the sunglasses to be cool. 877-377-6963 as we get into the third hour on a Friday. It's the golden hour of halftime. Speaking of golden, B.E. in Clarksville said all his wife wanted was a 6-piece nuggets and hot mustard. Man, that would make anybody happy, no matter what day it is, including Valentine's Day. Third hour of halftime is approaching. We've got the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame class to discuss.
Good players. Some good players, yeah.
Baseball has 1 player going into Cooperstown. Football has 9 players going into Canton.
I think I played against 4 or 5 of them, yeah. So interesting. Great group of guys.
And we'll get into some of that, your calls and texts, and also Neil Atkinson from Bet Saracen, all in hour number 3 of halftime.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The homestead tax credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
Some of my
video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab.
C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire. The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash.
One call cleans it all.
When you stay overnight, you want the accommodations to feel comfortable and feel like home. Well, at Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, you get exactly that. You can check out all their locations at bphotels.com. They have locations in Fayetteville, Bentonville, Little Rock, Jonesboro, Conway, El Dorado, Arkadelphia, North Little Rock, Bryant, Hot Springs, Ardmore, Oklahoma, and coming soon to Kansas City. bphotels.com. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, looking forward to serving you in 2023.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to
Got to get your food. I know you're big on having your appetizers, your finger foods. What you got to get. Love Super Bowl Sunday.
I'm just going to end up eating whatever is on the plate of wherever it is I watch the game. I don't know where it's going to be. I'm half listening to it and half watching it. Now, I won't be eating anything. Well, like I love wings during a Super Bowl, all right? But you can't drive, listen to the Super Bowl, and eat wings at the same time. At least I don't think so. The other aspect, too, is the radio commercials are nowhere near as funny as the TV commercials, or at least not as entertaining. So I kind of want to get through those things and get right to the game.
I'm trying to think. Last year, I can't really remember a lot of the Super Bowl. I mean, the commercials from it's not as big as I don't think it used to be. Like I used to really like the Super Bowl commercials, and now it's just kind of like
I liked the Larry David FTX commercial.
That one,
the cyber currency or whatever.
He's like, I'm not wrong about anything.
I obviously have never bought any of that stuff. Cryptocurrency. The NFL banned any cryptocurrency commercials, so you can't even do it. Like, hopefully Larry David's got another thing going on because he's funny and
you seen Clear History?
Anything.
You seen Clear? It's a Larry David production. Watch some. If you like, what's the show you told me to watch after Seinfeld? He did.
Oh, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
But it's got Who's cast in it. You Clear History is a must watch. Yes, sir.
Hey, I have to thank. We had a texter out of the 918. I had forgotten there is a second baseball legend that's going into Cooperstown because they've got the added committees. I don't think football does like an old players committee, or
I think
veterans committee eras like baseball does. Fred McGriff is also
the crime dog.
The crime dog, along with Scott Rowland. It's a little bit of an underwhelming Hall of Fame class. Not that either of them doesn't belong in. I think you could kick the tires on Rowland. I think Crime Dog belongs in.
I see like a number 24 or number 17 on Fred McGriff. What number was Fred McGriff?
You're gonna ask me the questions that I have no answer to.
I'm picturing my little 10-year-old self watching Fred McGriff. Let's see.
I just can't remember it. I just cannot remember it. I don't know what it is. But I like inclusive Hall of Fames. And the class of the NFL Hall of Fame comes out yesterday. What do they have? 15 finalists? It was 15 finalists. You have 9 players that have made it in. 9 players. I mean, you've got to. This is one of
all their low.
Article says he changed the way defenses played. Cover 2, right? Cover 2. Everybody's got
that Tampa 2.
Cover 2.
They won a Super Bowl doing that. Yeah, that Tampa 2 and Rondé Barber was one. To play cover 2, Phil, you got to be physical. You got to be able to come in and tackle. You got to set that edge a lot, man. It's tough to find at that level to be able to tackle like that and cover at the same time. He's an old school cornerback, man, and longevity. I want to say his last 14 or 15 years in the league, Phil, he didn't miss a game.
I think you're right. That's exactly right. Man, think about that. In that sport, 15 years without missing a game. That's craziness. I mean, 15. How many years did it take Cal Ripken to set that record from 83 through 95? That's longer. Barber went longer.
That's an impressive as anything right there. Being a cornerback on that physical Tampa defense. I mean, you had Tampa and Baltimore, I want to say, around that time that were really playing. Chicago, they didn't win a Super Bowl, though, but as far as winning a Super Bowl defensive-led team, that Tampa team, man, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber, John Lynch, who's the CEO apparently at San Fran, whatever his title is, but he's kind of got that San Fran team. Man, they had a lot of talent there.
Wonder if
Lane Kiffin's dad, Monte Kiffin, was the D coordinator. Yeah,
that's right. He was there for a long time too, and for a defensive coach in Dungy.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder is Tiki a Hall of Famer?
Tiki retired. You remember he retired
kind of,
and then next year
television.
Well, the next year they won the Super Bowl. So he was with the Giants for all those years, and next year they won. I don't think Rondé would have been a Hall of Famer if he had only played 11 years. I think that longevity really helps. I think Tiki, if he had played 3 or 4 more years, maybe, but I don't think so.
Just a little bit over 10,000 yards in Tiki's career.
If he's a Hall of Famer, Fred Taylor's a Hall of Famer. I'll tell you that. Fred Taylor's better than Tiki Barber ever thought he was.
Well, you got a soft spot for
best running back I played with in my 4 years in being lucky enough to play in the NFL. He was the best running back that I played with, and Maurice Jones-Drew was there too, which he was pretty good. But Fred Taylor, man, there wasn't anything that dude couldn't do.
It's a defense-heavy class. Chuck Howley, an old-time linebacker from the 50s and the 60s with the Bears and the Cowboys. Joe Klecko. Wow, Joe Klecko, defensive end. Remember, he and Gastineau was the guy you'd thought was going to be the Hall of Famer on that Jets defense, and he flamed out, and Klecko gets into the Hall of Fame with a 10-year career. Darrelle Revis, Revis Island. And I didn't go back and look this up, though, but I think with Revis making the Hall of Fame, there might not be another school, another university that has more players enshrined in Canton than Pitt, which is where Revis came from.
Well, Fitzgerald's going to be there his first year on the ballot. He's a Pitt receiver. So the first year that Larry Fitzgerald, he will definitely be a Hall of Famer.
the crazy thing is that I think Mike Ditka went to Aliquippa High School, which is the same high school that Revis went to. There's another Hall of Famer that went to Aliquippa. 3 Hall of Famers from a tiny little high school, a tiny little town in western Pennsylvania, in Aliquippa. So Revis, you play against Revis?
I did. Rookie year, he was with the Jets. We ended up winning. I was the slot in my rookie year, so I didn't go against him. But he talk about talent. He's a cover corner. You got Dion, Darryl Green. Al Harris was pretty good. Terrence Newman. Revis Island, man, he had a period there where he was pretty good. I'm telling you, the hardest thing to do in professional sports, in my opinion, Phil, and I never had to hit a curveball or a slider, but is to cover a professional athlete who knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And you get to study film, you get to know down and distance, you get to use your context clues to kind of know what he's doing as far as the receiver. But that's a professional athlete over there, and you got to react to what he does. I mean, just unbelievable athlete. I think they're the best athletes in the world are cornerbacks.
And he still had 29 interceptions over a career.
Won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, yeah.
He did? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 1 year at the Patriots. He kind of turned into, he's known for the Jets. You remember, goes to Tampa, then New England, and then back to the Jets, and then wrapped up his career with Kansas City. Revis Island. Who else making it? Can't hear. Ken Riley, a cornerback from the 70s and 80s with Cincinnati, and Joe Thomas, one of the great tackles of his time with Cleveland. But he didn't really play for many very good Cleveland teams. I think they might have been to the playoffs once with him, twice maybe.
He is. I wouldn't say he wasted his talent because he obviously was one of the best left tackles to do it. But it's a shame, and nobody looks at left tackles the way they do other positions. If he was a different position, not making it to the playoffs or not having a lot of success, it'd be kind of like, who's the receiver from Detroit that went to Georgia Tech?
Megatron.
So he was on like a 1-14 team, an 0-16. Like you look at this, and he's still considered one of the best receivers to ever play the game. Wasn't that bad with Joe Thomas, but no, they weren't very good at all. But he's, man, absolute just stud. And being able to play, he didn't miss a lot of time either. Like he was one of those guys that you pencil him in at left tackle, and you knew who your starting left tackle was.
Just think of some of the quarterbacks that Thomas might have.
Jason Campbell, I know.
Blocked for.
I know Jason Campbell was there. They went through that list, man. They were going through a lot of them.
Yeah, and then Zach Thomas. Is there a shorter linebacker in Canton than Zach Thomas? What did they list him at 5'11"? He probably was shorter than that.
Yeah, that dude from the Saints, was it Pat Mills? He was a little guy. No, so we're playing a preseason game down there at Pro Player Stadium in Miami. And I'm in the slot in his rookie year and have a slant route. And so run your slant, run your hot route and left which shows the pass a little bit behind me, but it's to protect me, because he sees a guy coming. And that dude hit me in the back, kind of your kidney shot. And it's one of those where you get hit and you're like, I don't want to play football anymore. I think I'm done with. And then you got to get right back up. You can't lay down. You bounce right back up. You can't let anybody see it. But at the time, it hurt. But I bounced right back up, and you go about it. But it wasn't any fun.
I'm going through the list here of some of the quarterbacks that Joe Thomas blocked for. Derek Anderson, Charlie Fry, Brady Quinn, Colt McCoy, Jake Delhomme, Seneca Wallace, Jason Campbell, Brandon Whedon, Brian Hoyer. There's McCown, Johnny Manziel, Austin Davis, and then Deshaun Kaiser. He didn't play.
There's not one winner.
Mayfield, though.
There's not one winner on that group.
Not one.
Yeah.
College winners, not pro winners.
You're not scared of any of those quarterbacks. Yeah.
Got that right. All right, we'll break here.
And also we DeMarcus Ware, Phil. I don't know if you mentioned him or not, but he's.
That's right. I forgot to get to DeMarcus Ware. I scrolled all the way down. And, was there anybody better than DeMarcus Ware at linebacker during his time with the Cowboys?
Best defensive end, outside linebacker, however you want to call it, that I played against in college. He went to Troy. He played in the SEC with a lot of good ones. Great, unbelievable. He's a first ballot guy for sure.
Well, we're going to get into the Super Bowl in just a moment with Neil Atkinson from Bet Saracen. I don't know how many prop bets they've got on this game, but it's about 200 of them. We'll roll through some of those. Some thoughts on Arkansas versus Mississippi State as well. Thanks to our friends at Bet Saracen, so stay with us on Halftime.
Matt and Maddie T are so lucky. They get Fish City Grill brought to them every week. Some guys have all the luck.
Always hot and fresh too, Phil. The shrimp and grits are so delicious.
I'm a big fan of their oyster nachos. It's such a unique appetizer, you have to try them.
You and your oysters, Maddie. Now I'm hungry. I'm headed to Fish City Grill.
Smart choice. They have locations in Rogers and Fort Smith.
Fish City Grill, home of friendly folks and serious seafood.
If you're looking for a Ford F-150, they have them at Harry Robinson Salisaw Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Salisaw. Here's the great deal right now. You get rebates and special financing with Ford and Harry Robinson.
Yes, and what we're going to be doing this weekend is just a little bit sweeter. So Ford is offering you a $1,000 rebate, and we're going to be not just matching it, but we're going to double it. You get your $1,000 rebate, you get $2,000 discount from Harry Robinson, and you can still get your special APR financing. That's 60 months at 1.9. That's 72 months at 3.9. You know, some dealers are still charging MSRP and over. We're not doing that. You get your rebates, you get your discounts, and you get your special financing.
And you have both the 2022s and the 23 F-150s in stock.
Yes, we've got 22 F-150s, 23 F-150s. We got Broncos, Sports, Mach-E, Mustangs, Escapes, Explorers. We've got the inventory. Come down here and see us. This is where you want to buy your next new vehicle.
Harry Robinson Salisaw Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Salisaw. It's a free weekend with World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH is the number. All the extras, all the free upgrades this weekend, including voice-activated remotes at no extra charge.
Yeah, get one of your favorite channels back, Newsmax. If you had DirecTV and you lost that, you can get that channel back, but also get a lot of freebies. Free installation, get you 3 years of your price guarantee, absolutely free. Get you 3 free months of movie channels, get the free voice remote, get free HD, get the Hopper 3 installed free. Free.
I like the Hopper 3 because it has the sling built in. So if I'm on the go at my kid's game or traveling, I can log right in, watch live TV or my recorded shows on DVR anywhere I've got internet service.
Hey, my college kids, when they need to watch a Razorback game living in Kansas, that's how they find that sometimes on the local channels. Also, I had a truck driver last week, needed that Sling TV, is on the road a lot. So Sling is one of the best things. It's all included when you have Dish.
It's a free weekend with World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH, 877-305-3474.
Let me grab my car keys and we'll roll.
We still going to that new bar downtown?
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Lexi, give me driving directions from home to downtown bar district.
Autocorrect. Suggest Uber. Pick up. Home. Drop off downtown bar district.
No, I'm driving.
Suggest the Metro bus. Departing in 12 minutes.
Point taken, Lexi. We'll grab a ride.
If you drink, don't drive. Decide to ride. Brought to you in partnership by Anheuser-Busch, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and Uber.
The cold and flu seasons are here, and Law's Drug Store has what you need to safely care for you and your family. Law's Drug Store can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all the over-the-counter cold and flu remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointments for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
People come and people go. Simple facts of running a business. But when the folks that have keys go, it creates a new issue of protecting your property. Instead of having the expense of changing locks, consider using access control so you only have to terminate a card. Guardtronic, the River Valley's leader in security, can install an access control system that allows you to know who and what time someone comes into your business. And with only a few clicks on a keyboard, that access is denied instantly. Contact Guardtronic at 800-542-7866 or connect through guardtronic.com. License E050.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text into Halftime at 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Big weekend of sports coming up here, and we'll get into it with Neil Atkinson from Bet Saracen. The Bet Saracen app is Arkansas's favorite sports betting app. Want to put a little wager on any sporting event? Bet Saracen is right there on your phone. As long as you download it on Google Play or on the Apple iPhone or on the Apple Play Store. NFL, college football, NBA, Major League Baseball. Whenever those things get started, or if they're in the middle of the season, they got the best odds, favorites, underdogs, most accurate and up-to-date sports wagering information right there on the Bet Saracen app. It's also on any web browser at betsaracen.com. Good afternoon, Neil. We'll just call it Super Bowl weekend because it's a Friday and we're already feeling it. So it's like Christmas, Easter, Hanukkah, New Year's, Valentine's rolled into one for sportsbooks. So happy Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been telling everybody today is the Christmas Eve for the Super Bowl. So we're excited. We're looking at all of this prop action, all of the lines, all of the interest in it. Kansas City is a regional team for us. So we're actually in a pretty good position because we're probably more balanced than most of the books that are not in our immediate region. So looks like we can be kind of neutral on who wins the Super Bowl at this point. But one thing that's going to be amazing about Sunday is that we're on track to absolutely smash the records for the amount of handle we've had in any single day or any single event. Of course, NFL Championship Sunday was the biggest day that we've had since we launched Bet Saracen. Prior to that, the biggest game, currently right now, the biggest game ever bet was the Dallas Cowboys versus the San Francisco in the divisional playoffs. And the amount that we already have on the Super Bowl 2 days out is right at that number. It's approaching it very, very quickly. And typically about 70 to 80% of the bets come in on Super Bowl Sunday. So it's got the potential of being an incredibly busy day with a lot of action on the biggest day in U.S. sports all year long, especially if you're a pro football fan.
Looks like the line has held since we talked to you last week. Philadelphia favored by 1.5. I'm leaning towards Philly, but that line looks like it's held even after Mahomes said that my ankle's healthy.
Yeah, it has held pretty steady. I expect it to wobble between 2 to maybe 1/2 a point. But it's been consistent, not just on Bet Saracen, but when we're keeping an eye on all the nationwide and the overseas lines, it's been pretty consistent there too. But what we're finding is that the incredible amount of prop bets that we are taking. And, if you want to or whatever, I've actually got the list of what's
I was going to ask you. Go ahead.
So far.
Go, please do, because that was my next question. I was going to ask you what some of the cooler ones. One, Phil and I were talking about earlier about how you could do one with the Premier League team and other things. What do you got going?
All right. The number one, of course, the number one bet is who's going to win the game. The money line is our number one bet right now. But when you take out the points and the over and the unders, the number one prop bet is Travis Kelce and anytime touchdown. That by far is the number one prop that is being bet. Followed half of not necessarily half, but the next most popular bet is Jalen Hurts at anytime touchdown. Right neck and neck is Patrick Mahomes passing yards. And they're betting the over on that.
What is that set right now? I was wondering because I did want to ask you too, Neil. Are y'all putting any thought into the last time these two teams played? They combined for over 900 yards the last two times these teams played. So what is Patty Mahomes' yards per game?
Let me scroll down and find that one real quick. And my apologies. We have over 200 prop bets currently listed right now on the Bet Saracen site, and they're listed in two places. Your general props that are available for any NFL game, your traditional player props are in the market. Also, check out the specials. That's the special content that we created, where things like coin toss are, the Kelce brother props that we have. All of that. So I am here looking right now on all of my Kansas City props. And my player props and Mahomes will probably be the highest. First one here.
So, Neil, this is the third Super Bowl where you've had the number one passing offense versus the number one passing defense in the last handful of years. And the winner has been the defensive team. So this is the third time it's happened. The first two times it happened, the defensive team beat the offensive team. Seattle beat Denver when Seattle had that Legion of Boom number one defense versus Peyton Manning. When we talked about this last week, Neil, the very first snap went over his head, and the very first score was a safety, which that's probably got to be some good odds.
That's a good odds. Now, Patrick Mahomes of passing yards is the over and under is 294.5. And if you go to Jalen Hurts, his is 239.5.
I like the one on number of sacks for Philadelphia because I think they're going to get to Mahomes and might not even need to blitz. And I think that could end up being the difference in the game. I was sort of scrolling through, and you're right. I mean, there's so many prop bets. You might pass over one and need to, give it a couple of glances on the app. But a Philadelphia defensive touchdown, like Mahomes fumbled the ball in the AFC Championship game. And I think they're going to get to him to the point where they could knock it out of his hand. Heck, I mean, one of their defensive ends was talking about, I'd love to get a strip sack of the GOAT. And they did the same thing against Tom Brady a few years ago. I saw 2.5 is where you got the line for number of sacks for Philadelphia. I'd take the over on that. I really would.
That's a good one to look at too. Yeah. I try not to pick them unless it just really sticks out to me. I tell people all the time, you don't necessarily want to get your betting advice on which way to bet from your bookmaker. That may not always work out for you, but I'm just absolutely amazed that there is a possibility by the time the game is over and with the in-play betting that we actually may have more money on the prop position bets than we do on the actual outcome of the game. And that happened actually in the Dallas-San Francisco game, which was our number one bet game to date. Now, the Super Bowl is going to blow that out of the water this Sunday. So, these props are absolutely amazing, and we're proud that we've got the selection that we have. And one of the other things we're doing too is that if you see a prop that you may have seen elsewhere that we may have overlooked and not offered, hit us up on Twitter and we'll look at it. And if we can put a lineup on it and we can do it, we will do it. Now we are restricted by some regulations and tied to NFL official stats and things of that nature. But generally, if it's tied to something like that, we can create a prop around it. And one of the things that we're getting a lot of attention with is our Players Pick boosted parlay, and that parlay was created by polls that we put on Twitter, and our players that are follow our Twitter feed are the ones that actually compose that parlay. So that's a fun one to do too. It's a long shot, but if it hits, we're going to have a lot of happy people.
Well, fear not about the Super Bowl being in the football season. I know that it's the biggest weekend, the biggest day for sports books across the country on an annual basis. Where does the NCAA tournament fit into that? Because it's a month-long event. The Final Four is just the capper on it. Everybody loves the first weekend of afternoon and evenings of games for 4 days in a row. Where does the NCAA tournament? Because that's the next big thing after the Super Bowl.
Absolutely, the NCAA tournament will probably eclipse the NFL, the total handle for all of the playoff games. And it will easily eclipse what we take on the Super Bowl here, because you have 4 days of action packed that first weekend. You have the whole month. You have all of the hype coming out of the conference tournaments, the play-in games. That to me is the most beautiful sports tournament in the entire world. Now Matt may argue with me on the World Cup a little bit.
The Champions League, I'm with you. March Madness and Champions League, we got Champions League coming up too on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Yeah, that's big. I think Messi just pulled the hamstring, and Mbappe might be out. So that's that's it. But March Madness, Neil, I want to ask you. You told us a couple weeks ago that somebody had bet $100,000 on a 2-team parlay. What is the biggest bet so far on this Super Bowl, and is it just a straight up win bet?
Right now, we're dealing with more with volume. The big bets usually come in the day of the game or the day before the game.
Gotcha.
Because if you're going to be betting that much money,
you want all the information.
You're going to make sure you want all the information that you're going to do. Now, we do have one player we've got their limits wide open. We don't know which way they're going to go, but we suspect they're going to wait up until game time on which way they're going to go. They haven't told us which way they want to go yet, but when they do, we've got somebody lined up to make a big bet. So those big bets probably won't come in until maybe tomorrow, but most likely on Sunday when all the news is out and all there's no last minute breaking news or last minute sit outs or anything along that nature. So we'll see those big bets coming on that Sunday.
Neil, you obviously know about the Nick Smith news that he's going to be playing for Arkansas sometime soon. If we believe his Instagram broadcast from a couple of days ago, it'll occur tomorrow in the game against Mississippi State. One of the things that I'm interested in following on the Bet Saracen app is about Arkansas games compared to the national odds, because people inside the state here follow the Razorbacks quite a bit closer than those from outside the state. And I wonder if there's been any added numbers thrown in from your customers and clients after the Nick Smith news, and if that's gone towards Arkansas. I would assume it has gone towards Arkansas because you're adding such a talented player. Have you noticed any of that the last couple of days?
Yeah, we have, and we just released the Mississippi State Arkansas line for tomorrow at 5:00. And you know what? I'm kind of nervous about this line. Although Mississippi State has been playing excellently lately, but it's -7 Arkansas tomorrow with an over and under of 127.5. So when Arkansas beat Kentucky, boy, we took it on the chin on Tuesday, and it was a great win. And in the back of my mind, even though it's not a great result for me, the customers are very happy, and that's just that much solidifies that they will get in the big dance in the tournament. And we definitely want Arkansas to make the NCAA tournament, and I think they're in a really, really good position, especially after that Kentucky win, to get there. Tough stretch on the end, Alabama and Tennessee in the same week. That's going to be tough. But if they win these next couple of games that's well within their reach, we want to see them not have to depend on a deep run in the SEC tournament to get in. But I think we're in pretty good shape for having Arkansas in the tournament. And Nick Smith, based on how he performs, the protocol, everybody knows about Nick Smith. The protocol for him returning for the first game, he may only be slated to play 10 minutes the first game, and then that will increase as he plays more games. So keep an eye on that. Just because Nick Smith is playing, maybe the first time it may not be as impactful, and it depends on how he performs and how many minutes we expect him to get. Probably in his second or third game back will have more of an impact for us.
So do bookmakers watch the Super Bowl any differently than the regular average Joe? Do you need the quiet room? Do you like to be at a party, or are you just kind of like paying attention to the money that's coming, especially during the game with all the in-game bets that you can do too?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, it's always in the back of my mind. But the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl, and we like to enjoy it too. I'm going to be at a Super Bowl party. I'm going to be eating chicken wings. We're going to be making fun of the commercials. We're going to have a big group together like everybody else does. And my better half has made me promise that I can only look at the phone every 15 minutes to check and see how we're doing. So, yeah, it can be stressful. But like I said, we have a little bit of the benefit here with Bet Saracen in Arkansas is because of our proximity to Kansas City. We have a fairly balanced book right now. Right now, it's slightly in the edge on Bet Saracen with Philadelphia, but nationwide, it's 75% of the money is on Philadelphia. So I have a little bit easier ride because we're balanced here because our fan base is so close to Kansas City.
Do you think a little bit of that is, if you, as a Cowboy fan, we were talking about that earlier, and you say a lot of your nuggets, it's on the Dallas Cowboys each week. Do you think it's some of these guys, they're not going to bet on Philly just because they're a Cowboys fan?
Oh, I was actually at the sportsbook window, and we had a guy making a bet, and I said, "Who are you going with?" And I said, He said, "Never the Eagles."
Mm-hmm.
And he had a Dallas Cowboy hat, Dallas Cowboy jacket, Dallas Cowboy shoes, and I'm pretty sure there were Dallas Cowboy socks on that gentleman. So, and it's funny that you brought that up because that happened about an hour and a half ago. And that's definitely a thing here in Arkansas. A lot of times we have people betting against teams instead of four teams that we've seen.
Neil, happy Super Bowl weekend, too. Appreciate you hopping on with us today. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll do it again next Friday.
All right, everybody, bet with your head and not over it. And good luck, everybody, on the Super Bowl. Have fun, and if you ever need anything or have any issues, contact Bet Saracen, and we'll make it right.
Thanks, Neil.
That's another thing I noticed on the Bet Saracen app. They've got World Series odds already. Plus 15,000 for the Pirates to win the World Series. I wouldn't put a cent on that. Matt, I'm going to teach you how to love your favorite Major League Baseball team at some point. All right, halftime's back after this.
Joe Klein here for Bet Saracen, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app.
You bet it is, Joe, which means Bet Saracen has everything you're looking for and more right there on your cell phone.
Now everyone can get in the game and follow your favorite team.
And that's right on the money. If putting down a little wager makes your favorite game a little more exciting, we'll go to the app stores and download Bet Saracen. We even got a demo video to show you how to play.
Or find it at betsaracen.com.
I am not who you say I am.
I'm a pastor.
I am a caregiver.
I am a father.
I am a friend.
I'm a doctor.
Chances are someone you know and love is struggling with substance use disorder, but recovery is possible. Help starts when we stop stigma, view each other with compassion, and reach out for help. Call 1-800-622-HELP to get started. This message sponsored by the North Arkansas Partnership for Health Education and supported by grant number 2018-AR-BX-KO85 awarded by the Bureau of Justice Assistance. If you farm, you have enough to worry about without worrying about how much more you're going to owe once your current variable or balloon interest rate increases. Interest rates are on the rise. This is the time to check out Farm Credit's long-term fixed rate options. Farm Credit offers the longest terms in the ag industry. Long-term fixed rates mean there's no surprises and your payments remain the same for the life of your loan. That's peace of mind in this changing interest rate climate. Find a Farm Credit office near you at myaglender.com. Set your operation up for success and rest easy. Equal housing lender.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart.
Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Ed Sheeran used to sing in the church choir, but now bad habits reveal his desire.
The old saying goes, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. God knows you can't overcome. That's why the faith that saves is trusting what Jesus has already done. There's nothing else you can say or use or do. Bad habits lead to doom. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter, or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all. When you stay overnight, you want the accommodations to feel comfortable and feel like home. Well, at Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels, you get exactly that. You can check out all their locations at bphotels.com. They have locations in Fayetteville, Bentonville, Little Rock, Jonesboro, Conway, El Dorado, Arkadelphia.
Oh, hey, good luck to Arkansas softball. Got a doubleheader to open the season tonight in Las Vegas against Weber State and UNLV. If you want to watch that, it is broadcast on the UNLV YouTube channel, which is probably just a little bit better than Flow Sports. Of course, Flow Sports will carry the Arkansas baseball weekend starting next Friday in Arlington, but softball starts a week earlier, and according to the coaches poll, Arkansas softball is 6th. So good luck to Coach Deifel and the rest of the team. They've had such great seasons recently, and I tell you, this is the year that they'll make their first trip to the Women's College World Series. So the number $50 million is thrown out there as the dollar figure that Oklahoma and Texas will pay to the Big 12 and Fox combined in order to get out of the Big 12 a year earlier. It's $50 million for essentially 1 year in the SEC. But you know what else was $50 million? That's how much each SEC school made from the Southeastern Conference in the last year, the last calendar year, the last fiscal year, I guess is the right way to put it, which would have been the 2021-22 season, which is actually a little bit less than each school made previously. And it's not because the conference made less money. It was just some other aspects to it of dispersing money before. But anyway, $49.9 million went to each school in the Southeastern Conference. So that number will increase once Texas and OU join the league. So, I mean, it'll be a net positive for both of those schools. I saw that number. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money for 1 year to buy your freedom, essentially, from a league that you don't want to be a part of. But they're going to make that and then some just in the first season in the Southeastern Conference. And that'll also coincide with the start of the new 12-team playoff in which everybody in college football gets a bump up. I don't remember the dollar figure on the contract, but it's a lot more than it was before just by adding all those extra games. So it's interesting these two things come at the same time because $50 million sounds like a lot to buy your freedom, but I don't know how much they'll make, but they'll make more than $50 million in the 1 year just as an SEC team. And by the way, that is before one ticket is sold, it's before any hot dogs are sold, it's before any merchandising. That's just money coming from the SEC to each athletic department. And then they've got their own things going on campus, with their licensing deals and their broadcasting deals. So just more evidence that this is a huge business in college sports.
It's exciting. I mean, the college athletics right now, you get OU and Texas, two teams that they're blue bloods, they're blue chips, whatever you want to say. I mean, Texas, as much as you might not like Texas or OU, they're talented teams that have a lot of tradition. I mean, I think it's two good schools you're bringing in. I mean, can't say enough good things about the talent and the level that they're going to compete in the SEC. I think both teams right away compete in all sports, in every women's and men's. I think they compete and with a chance to win.
But is anybody here listening to this show? Let's just say in sometime in the future, Texas, is playing for a national championship again. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
It'd be weird if they're representing the SEC, huh?
Exactly. That's what I mean. You know, fans still do the SEC.
They still chant
SEC chant. You know, I mean, we know some people that rooted for Georgia against TCU just because they were an SEC team. It doesn't have anything to do with Arkansas. It's just, I guess, pride for your league. Are you really going to do the SEC chant if it's Texas playing in a national championship game? Come on now. I doubt it. Then again, I wasn't around in Arkansas during the days of the Southwest Conference, but I just can't imagine anybody here rooting for Texas under any situation. Like the dislike of LSU, the dislike of Alabama and all of that, that's different than Texas. That's true.
It seems personal. Texas seems personal, where the other things you can get over it. Yeah.
But it's also good to know that you're going to play them on an annual basis. Like, I can't imagine Arkansas and Texas is not going to be a permanent opponent.
Could you see
and
it?
Also for the other sports too, like you'll play Texas in basketball every year. You're going to have to do permanent opponents in baseball and then probably rotate the rest of them. Arkansas, Texas should be an annual thing in baseball as well. I mean, there's no reason for it not to be.
When's the last time they won a national title in baseball? Because when I think of Texas, lately I don't think of them as a football school and not necessarily a basketball school either. They've had some great players come through, and Ricky Barnes was their coach, and he's at Tennessee now. But I think of them more as a baseball school. It seems like they. When's the last time they won a national title in baseball?
2005.
Okay, maybe that's why, because that's my last year in college, and so I still remember. Yeah, I got you. Okay, I thought they had won one since then.
Was that the year Vince Young took him to the football natty too? 2005.
It would have been the 03-04 season, I think, or was it the 04-05 season? Yeah, no, it was the next year. It was my rookie year because they beat Michigan in the Rose Bowl, and then the next year they beat USC in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of people texting and saying there is absolutely no way they will root for Texas at all. They would root for somebody on the other side of the political spectrum first before they rooted for the Texas Longhorns.
Would you change the Arkansas-Texas game? Does that kick off your season, or do you make that the last game of the year? You know, talking about rivalry week, you make the Arkansas-Texas be your or do you try to make some? Yeah.
Whatever we've got to do to get the Missouri-Arkansas game off the last game of the regular season.
That's just a dud, right? Yeah, it's just a.
Well, I mean, it was an entertaining game this last year. It was a good game. It's just, you know, look. I mean, if we want to talk about rivals, we'll throw the term out. What is the term here? Manufactured rivalry for Missouri.
It's proximity, yeah.
Because it's it's sponsored. I mean, that's the reason that you have the rivalry. It's because it's a sponsored thing. Texas, gosh, I mean, go ahead and sell sponsorships for a rivalry with Texas.
We'll play them anywhere with any time. Yeah, exactly. Let's just show up. Let's go play.
Text from the 479 says December 6, 1969. Enough said. Yep. And I know the stories about Norm DeBryan and the old George Cole Field, that they had a special cup, special Texas cup, so they didn't have any bathrooms near the dugout. And if there was one near there, it probably didn't work. So that little Texas cup was the bathroom for the baseball team back then. And on cue, the person that I associate with hatred of Texas more so than anybody else, Clay Henry, sends a 3-word text with 2 punctuation marks. Texas? Hell no. I think
it's just horns down. Is that not an emoji yet? Can we not do the horns?
That's a great point,
That
Matt.
should be an emoji.
The DeMar Hamlin heart emoji with his hands, that became an emoji pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Why not a horns down? We've got a Razorback one.
We need a horns down
up logo for an emoji. We need a horns down logo. I know there's somebody across the landscape in Arkansas here that can put that thing together. Pretty sure you can. All right, we need to break and wrap things up in a moment here on halftime. We have made it near the very end of things here on the week. And I didn't really know if I'd make it to the end of the show today on like 3 hours sleep.
That's what champions do, Phil. The great ones, they don't complain. They show up, they lace them up, they put their socks on one at a time, and they get to work, man. That's it.
Champions drink a lot of coffee, too.
Fair enough.
A lot of coffee. And you show me one champion that can put his socks on 2 at a time, And I'll show you someone that can win the championship in every single sport. All right, we'll come back, wrap things up for your week after this on Halftime.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind everyone to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I'd also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify.
The homestead tax credit can save you up to $375 off your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by the Sebastian County Assessor.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-STORE or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
Are you a qualified CDL driver with local or over-the-road experience? Tired of driving older equipment? Not having enough home time? Feel like a number? You need Patriot Transport. Patriot Transport, based in Centerville, with locations in Russellville and Van Buren, provides you with late model equipment, has a family atmosphere, and provides you the opportunity to make $95,000 per year. Patriot Transport works with you to get the miles you want and the family time you need. Change your life today. Visit PatriotTransport.com to apply. That's PatriotTransport.com.
Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company has 2 locations, 1316 South Zero and 200 South Zero Street in Fort Smith, serving the glass and glazing needs of Fort Smith, Northwest Arkansas, and Eastern Oklahoma, commercial and residential. Tub and shower enclosures, mirrors, glass table, and countertops cut to custom size are just a few services offered by Arkansas Glass and Mirror Company. Arkansas Glass and Mirror stocks laminate glass, plexiglass, Lexan, window glass, and mirror and plate glass. For more information, call 646-4300. That's 646-4300.
Peace of mind in buying a quality and well-maintained vehicle is top priority at Carco Auto Sales. Carco Auto Sales has been serving the River Valley and Eastern Oklahoma for over 40 years and offers a variety of late model, low-mileage vehicles at unbeatable values. Come see the team at 2810 Midland Boulevard today or give them a call at 783-1722. You can check them out online at buyfromcarco.com. Carco Auto Sales. When you're ready.
Roses are red, violets are blue. If I had your bank account, I'd worry about alimony too. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Call today for a free consultation and ask about our special pricing for new divorce filings in February. 479-769-1505. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, City!
It's a big job just getting by with 9 kids and a wife. But I've been working, man, dang near all my life, and I'll keep on working. long as my two hands are fit to use.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Shannon texted in with an extreme text here. Wouldn't root for Texas with a gun to my head. And Shannon lives in Texas, so she might actually have one going on right now. You're brave, Shannon, but you're also quite correct. All right, we got to get our last thoughts on this Super Bowl. And maybe on Arkansas, Mississippi State tomorrow. Now, which I feel really good about the Hogs tomorrow. I think they're going to – I like the way they're playing. I'm interested to see how much Nick Smith plays. I don't see him upsetting the chemistry at all. I think Arkansas is going to get a win. I don't know if they'll cover at 7 points, but they'll win. As far as the Super Bowl, Matt, I think if Philadelphia gets to Patrick Mahomes enough and just pressure to test that ankle and force him to again, without blitzing, if they're able to force him to get out and run a little bit, I have a feeling Philadelphia is going to be able to create some turnovers. I'm still sticking with the Eagles for this Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, those high ankle sprains, I promise you it feels better each single day. He's getting the treatment and the proper maintenance and the care. It's going to feel better every single day. They're going to tape that sucker up, and the first time it gets rolled up, it's like playing a video game where you got all your health, and then all of a sudden they do the super power move, and you see your bar go all the way to 0. So we'll see if he can stay upright and not get rolled up and stay healthy and be at 80%. He's the best in the game right now, so you get to it. But the point I brought up earlier, Phil, there was 3 times in the history of the Super Bowl, number 1 passing offense versus the number 1 passing defense. The other 2 times, this is the 3rd time, the other 2 times the passing defensive team won. So Philly had the number 1 passing defense in football. The Chiefs had the number 1 pass. So something's got to give.
Well, does that mean you've made a pick?
I'm going with the Chiefs by 10. I got the Chiefs. I think little Isaiah Pacheco, the 7th-round pick, little scat back. He's super tough. He does a lot of little things. He can kind of hide in there like a Fred Talley, like a Darian Sproles. Kind of can get lost in the shuffle of those big DNs. He's going to hit him on a draw. He's going to hit him on a screen pass. I look for him to have over 100 yards, all-purpose yards, and have a really big game. I got Kansas City, 31-21. I think the winning team's going to score 30. My favorite pick of everything is the over 50 points. Like if you could just choose one thing, I think the winning team's going to score 30. Last time these 2 teams played, Field, over 900 yards of total offense.
Mm-hmm. Is it tight getting into the last 5 minutes? I think this will be a tight ball game. I'm picking Philadelphia to win 28-24.
Ooh, I like it. Man,
I'll get you over 50 points too.
I could see it, Phil, where there could be, the lead could change 3 times in the second half. It might be the last team with the ball. The lead change. It'd be a filling out process early on, seeing how it goes, make a couple halftime adjustments. But it's going to be a back and forth game. I think it'd be one of those games we could be talking about it for a few days afterwards.
Matt, Christian, we made it. You hear the music. We made it to the end of the week. I will be asleep as soon as the music stops playing. The Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast coming out very soon. And Ruskin and Zach are ready to take you from 2 until 7 o'clock on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. We'll be back with you on Monday to discuss the weekend. For Matt Jones, Kristen Johnson, I'm Phil Elson. Get up, get out, and get better.
Wednesday.